Everybody, we've got a quorum present. It's time to start, so if everybody will rise for the opening prayer and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Shelby, you want to pray for us?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, how many blessings we have received, and those that we hope you will continue to give us. We ask that you be with our country and our county today as we try to do your will. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Anybody signed up to speak, citizens be heard. I'm worried that nobody cares what we're doing here.
Don't you have anything to say this morning, Maurice?
Tell all your friends and neighbors that the court needs to hear. If there are problems or if they're not problems and things are going well, come tell us that occasionally. It's kind of nice to hear. I think it would be. We never have one. Okay, item 6 on the agenda, proclamation from ACOG declaring May as Older Americans Month and requesting the county judge to sign the proclamation, and that was presented by the Alamo Advisory Committee members representing Karnes County, who were Cheryl Moore and Kevin Matula. Kevin is not here, I believe, and we have Lena Hernandez with ACOG here with Cheryl, and I'll turn it over to y'all if you will come on up.
Good morning. I just want to thank all of y'all, Commissioners Court, for allowing us to have this proclamation this month, and also for allowing us to have some representation from Karnes County. Kevin and I have been able to attend two meetings as of now. And this is just a clearinghouse so that we can get some help for some of our older citizens that are down here. And I want to thank Judge Long for hosting a focus group here a couple of months ago that we had. And it's really good because it gets a conversation going of some of the things that we need, and we get together with groups that have interest in this, and it's a very good thing that we're doing. And so with that being said, we have Elena Hernandez here, who is in charge of the Alamo Area Council of Governments with the Area Agency on Aging. And so with that, I'd like to read the proclamation. Whereas Karnes County and the Alamo Area Agency on Aging represents a community of 2,287 age 60 or older Americans who deserve recognition for their contributions to our nation. And whereas Karnes County recognizes that older adults are trailblazers, advocating for themselves, their peers, and their communities, paving the way for future generations. And whereas Karnes County is committed to raising awareness about issues facing older Americans and helping all individuals to thrive in communities of their choice for as long as possible. Whereas Karnes County appreciates the value of inclusion and support in helping older adults successfully contribute to and benefit from their communities. And whereas Karnes County provides opportunities to enrich the lives of individuals of all ages by promoting and engaging in activity, wellness, and social involvement, emphasizing calm and community-based services that support independent living, ensuring community members can benefit from the contributions of older adults. Now therefore be it resolved that the Karnes County Commissioners Court does hereby proclaim May 2016 to be Older Americans Month. Karnes County urges every resident to take this time to acknowledge our older adults and the people who serve them as powerful and vital individuals who greatly contribute to our community. Passed and approved on this day.
Hopefully.
Yes, we hope.
I move that the court pass and approve this proclamation that's been presented. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by raising your right hand. All voted for, the motion passed, and the proclamation is approved as the official proclamation of Karnes County. I happen to be the oldest American in the room today. I think I'm 80 years old and happy to be here. You're not 80 yet, though.
Right there.
Well, we're still doing pretty good, kind of.
And
You're,
I want to thank all of y'all because y'all are such good role models.
Well.
And there's so much to be said about every day. I thank God that I have these older Americans in my life that keep me going, and I hope one day I might be able to pass that on to the next generation.
What do you want, Cheryl?
I don't want anything. I don't want anything. I just want to say that in my heart. That's just what I feel.
Thank you so much.
well, thank you all
Thank
very
you for
much.
coming.
We appreciate it.
Right?
Thank you. Mary, can you snap a picture for us? Sure. Please.
You gotta act like it's signed, or act like it's signed. Look at the
Yeah, I want
picture.
a picture, that's what I want. Oh, really want a picture? Oh, it's over there. On my, I'm sorry to hold up this meeting.
29.
29.
Oh, that's good. I know, you want the whole picture?
Well, Chairman takes care of it.
Oh,
Yes,
I didn't know what it, I thought we were just doing the jet.
No, it's-
you're important.
Excuse me?
Okay, we'll go over, there you go. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Yes. I had to laugh because I said 60 and over. I said, oh, I am one of those.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hernandez, for
Thank you.
coming in.
Appreciate your help.
to us.
All right, thank you. Yes.
Gush.
Okay. Item 7 on the agenda, presentation of the Karnes County report from the Health Service Region 8 by Monica Gush.
Thank y'all. Desiree is passing out some information to y'all. One is a single sheet. The top one is a single sheet, which is our county statistics. And the booklet that she passed out is statistics for our region, which is 28 counties in total. So you can compare what Karnes County is doing in comparison to the other counties. But this is just a yearly update. It's been a little while since I've been here and spoken in front of y'all, but just want to give you a little bit of a picture or snapshot of what we do in the county. We do stay very, very busy here. Myself and Desiree it's just us two at the health department, but we stay very active within the community. There is a little snapshot here of some things that we do. We're very active on several committees and coalitions. We're extremely active in all of the schools, especially here in Karnes City. We do support a big decisions abstinence plus sexual curriculum activity planning in the schools. We participate in annual Karnes County Child Abuse Prevention events. We serve as resources to local healthcare providers, school nurses, and the jail system staff when it comes to immunizations and infectious diseases. And we assist the local food bank events in conjunction with the Karnes County Food Policy Council. The rest of this page has some statistics on communicable diseases and STDs. I apologize for some of the statistics. They're a little behind in data, but that's how the state captures data, so it's always a couple of years behind. But that gives you an idea of what's been going on with communicable diseases within the past several years, and for STDs, what was going on in 2014. And as you can see, we have a high rate of STDs, especially chlamydia, within the county. One thing that wasn't mentioned on this sheet is Desiree is very active in our community with car seats. She is a car seat technician, And so anytime parents or guardians are in need of a car seat, or they want their car seat looked at to see if their children are being placed in the seat correctly, Desiree does do that. And we work in conjunction with AgriLife, where the seats are housed. And we do several car seat checks. And we have been trying to have events in the county twice a year. This year we didn't get to do our spring event, but we will plan one in October. And they have been very successful. If you have any questions, Desiree or I, we are available also at the health department. And we would be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
Mark, have you seen the survey that was completed by the University of Wisconsin that was sent, how the counties rated in certain areas compared to other counties?
No, I haven't seen
I
that.
need to get you a copy of that, because we're like 122 on one thing and then 222 on another or something. And I don't know exactly.
You don't remember what the...
It came in the mail, but it's from University of Wisconsin. I thought maybe this might be part of what you were going to talk
No,
about.
the booklet here is just our 28 counties that are in Region 8. And it kind of gives you a snapshot of just different activities that they're working on. Oh, there we go. Okay, thanks. What we're working on, but it's just us. It doesn't have anything to do with this survey here.
And have y'all, I know that the state's been actively on this, the virus, the mosquito thing.
Zika. Yes.
Zika.
Yes.
I know that Steve Hanneman has been talking about it. I saw at ACOG the other day, he was saying that there was going to be a big, states coming out with some fine criteria and stuff, so.
Yes, the CD, every day they're tweaking the information that they're getting because something new is being discovered every day. And right now they're concentrating mostly on pregnant women because that's where the danger seems to be because of the birth defects that are associated with Zika, and that has been proven. So, as a matter of fact, this afternoon I'm going to be on a Grand Rounds seminar that they're going to be speaking from Austin on their latest findings.
Yeah, I
So-
guess that's what I was thinking, because I think it's a webinar.
Yes, yeah, today at 1 o'clock, so, we just had a conference call also, when was it, Monday, and we spoke a little bit about Zika. We're just really encouraging the public right now at large to not so much focus on Zika so much as to focus on mosquito prevention and what you can do as a citizen yourself to prevent mosquitoes in your yard, get rid of standing water, use bug spray, repellent when you're out and about, those kind of things. So that's the primary focus at the moment.
Thank you.
Yes, are you a state or county agency?
State,
State.
yes.
Are there any plans to expand services to health inspections of food service establishments? We have no inspections in this county that I'm aware of.
We do. The gentleman that comes out and does the inspections. I'll provide you with one of these as well. There were a total of 38 general sanitation and restaurant inspections conducted last year. The gentleman that does it, his name is on there, Armando Fortinas. And if you ever have any specific questions for him about a specific place, he's your man to call. He's the sanitarian.
And there were 38 inspections of all the food service establishments in the county in 1 year.
That's what my statistics show. Yes. That would be a question for him, though. He's the sanitarian that serves, he doesn't just serve this county. He goes to Goliad County and some other counties too. But those are supposed to be specific for Karnes.
It's not nearly enough.
Be sure to give him a call.
Cheryl?
Oh, I just want to say, what they're doing is a wonderful thing. I've been involved in coming to some of the car distribution, and it's great that these people are being able to get these car seats, and so it's a wonderful thing. We're able, even at food distribution, we find kids coming through with grandparents that we're able to push you away, so
Yes.
thanks for being able to keep these kids safe.
Is there a list of the establishments that were inspected and a result of the inspection available to us?
That should be available to you if you contact Armando. Yes, because he should have a list of those.
It should be available whether we contact it or not.
Yes, yes,
But I
because that
don't
should
think
be-
I've seen one.
And not to my, we don't have it at our office, no,
Okay.
we don't. But
I
that should,
suggest to the court that each of you call them and
yeah, yes.
check them up and let's see if we can get a copy of whatever.
Mary?
they have.
Judge, you can maybe talk to him maybe once a year after they do this inspection, he can send it to the court
Send
every year.
it- Come to the court and bring it.
Yeah.
We do invite them, we let them know a month ahead of time, that's why I like to get on the agenda a few weeks ahead of time, to let the officials know in San Antonio when we're gonna be here. Last time Dr. Ringstorff joined us, and I believe Steve Hanneman was here, or one of the emergency preparedness people, but the sanitarian didn't come. But they're all invited, they're aware that we're here today.
Where can we get our mama's number from?
It's
on
on the
your
back
sheet.
of our
On
sheet.
your sheet, right in the top right
Right
hand
here.
corner.
That's on this one?
Yes, that's his direct line in San Antonio.
Okay.
210-949-2181.
Yes, that is Armando. Okay, thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank y'all, we appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to omit discussion of item 8, which was a change order 5 on the allowances for Karnes County agency. We weren't ready for it. Item 9 on the agenda, discuss accept engagement letter from ABIP CPA's independent auditor for completion of the county's independent audit for the period 9/30/2015. Authorize the county auditor to execute, and the author is Luana.
This is just the annual compliance letter stating that we are engaging ABIP to do our independent audit and the guidelines that they go by to conduct that audit. The reason
This is one we do every year.
Correct. And the reason I'm the requested authorized signature is because I coordinate with them to get the audit done.
And you've got the engagement letter.
Yes, I have the original.
Is it, we have a copy in our file.
Yes.
It's dated September 30th, and now we're getting,
Well, it's dated September 30th because that's the end of our fiscal year.
That's last year. It's not this year.
I know, but last year, but it's just like this is after they've done the audit, right?
Well, they're in the process of doing the audit. It is not complete yet.
And I think I've
Why
asked,
did they start without an engagement letter?
they believe her.
It's always been that way as long as I've been here. They don't present that engagement
What if we
letter.
wanted to change and we decided to change? Would they just come in and start? Not the new one, the old one?
Well, it would be hard to change because you have to book these independent auditors months in advance to fit in their schedule to get the audit completed.
Well, we just have to look months in advance. That's not hard to do.
Well, and we can go out for RFPs,
I think
and
that's-
now would be the time to do it.
How long have they been doing it?
How many years?
Yes.
I believe this is the 4th year that they've been here.
I think we need to
It may
go
be
out
the
for
3rd, but it
proposals.
may be the 4th. There are not a whole lot of public accounting firms that will do governmental audits.
Okay.
But we could, that would not negate the possibility we could ask.
Oh, that's correct.
Yeah, I mean.
We
I-
can
I
go out
think-
for RFPs.
I think we should, I believe that we should do that. I think that things like this should be changed occasionally so somebody else is looking over somebody else's shoulder.
I will tell you, and Mary, if you'd put that on for the next agenda to authorize going out for RFPs, that if we engage a new firm, it's going to cost a whole lot more because they have to get acclimated from square one coming forward.
I mean, that's part of the proposal.
Correct.
So we'll know where we're at.
Correct.
And if I remember right, the base price on this is the same as it has been in the past.
Yes.
And of course, then if there are issues, they have extra charges.
Correct. And if there happens to be issues that will involve additional time, they will come before court and request authority to do the extra work.
And what is their fee?
50,000.
Yes. That's the anticipated not to exceed cost.
And not that he's the end all be all, but has Herb blessed these in the past, or has
No.
somebody
He has never been involved.
paid into involvement?
We approve the letter of engagement and now authorize the county auditor to sign.
Second, somebody.
Whoever.
All right.
That's right.
Motion and a second, and I would just say that I want to talk to her about it. That doesn't affect the motion or anything, but I want to be sure that we're doing
Well, that's,
what we need to be doing.
it's unfortunate he's not here, but yes, that's my opinion too.
And I'm afraid that he may not be here. He's having family problems with a ill son, I think, over in East Texas.
I asked Carrie a minute ago before we came in, and she said she expected him back after the 11th of May. But
Well, he was going on vacation, I think, next week. Anyway.
it'll be a while, but
All right.
I'm with you, Judge. I think that all of these things should be sliced, diced, and smelled of before they go.
Yeah. All right. We have a motion and a second.
Yes.
And any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. All voted for, the motion carried. Okay, we're to item 10.
Yes, sir.
Discuss approve the bond for the elections administration. Suzanne Young and others Lamont.
We have to have a bond on our elections administrator in the amount of $10,000 payable to the county judge. And this is just to authorize and approve bonding Suzanne as the election administrator.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. All voting for the motion carried. Item 11 on the agenda, discuss, approve, disapprove a resolution of Criminal Justice Division grant application for Sheriff's Department body camera program. This grant application was previously approved by the court. This resolution is required to receive the grant award of $26,532 awarded to Karnes County by the Governor's Office. Authorize Judge Long to sign the resolution on behalf of the court. The author's Chief Deputy Robert Ebert is, well, Robert.
Mayor, do you have that resolution, or do they have a copy?
That's correct.
Okay. I was just going to remind the court, last year in last year's budget, after the law changed, the court granted the Sheriff's Department a little over $37,000 for that body camera program. The program's been in place for about a year. We applied for a grant for reimbursement for that $37,000. There is a match, and I'll read the resolution here in a little bit. It talks about that. Basically, what it is, they reduced the match, and that's what was awarded to us, the difference of $26,532. And basically, it's a little bit different, but I think the match is $5,000 something dollars. But there will be no additional funds involved in this. The match will be taking off what the court spent, and it requires y'all's approval to receive this money. Puts me in charge of the money, and also that holds our feet to the fire that if somebody runs off with the money, then we're responsible for it. There's some guidelines that we have to do along the way for the next 3 years. We have to report to the governor's office about how many contacts, how many use of force items we have, and other things, and I'll be responsible for those reports. So I'll see that the governor gets that. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to read the resolution. It says, whereas the Karnes County Commissioner Court finds in the best interest of the citizens of Karnes County that the body camera program is to be started in 2016. Whereas the Karnes County Commissioners Court agrees to provide applicable matching funds for the said program as required by the Governor's Criminal Justice Program grant application, which is already in there. Whereas the Karnes County Commission Court agrees that in the event of a loss or misuse of the office of the Governor's funds, the Karnes County Commissioners Court assures that the funds will be returned to the office of the governor in full. Whereas the Karnes County Commissioner Court designates Chief Deputy Robert Lieberman as the grantee's authorized official. The authorized official is given the power to apply for, accept, reject, alter, or terminate the grant on behalf of the applicant agency. Now therefore be it resolved that the Karnes County Commissioners Court approves submission of the grant application for the body camera program to the office of the governor, signed by Walter R. Long, Jr., County Judge, and passed this day. It also requires a resolution from the district attorney. Renee Pena has provided a resolution for the county also. He provided that to us here earlier this week, so he has signed off on it, and we just need the court to approve this.
Robert, how many cameras will you have all total?
We have 37 cameras, 32 were for the sheriff's office, and the rest were for the constable, 4 constables, and 1 we had bought for an extra spare, if one goes down. Now that if we end up losing 3 positions in the upcoming budget, the governor's office requires that we continue to use those cameras. So we're going to assign those cameras to the jail. So we're going to be using those cameras in the new jail facility along with that. So that's what our plans are.
Has the use been implemented already, Robert?
Yes, sir. It started in earlier this year. It's been very successful. When it comes to evidence, the lawyers love it. The open records request people love it. And it's really going to be a good tool to protect the county from liability issues. Every time somebody complains on an officer now, all we have to do is go and pull that tape and it's right there. To be honest with y'all, this is high definition video. It makes our patrol car video look ridiculous. That patrol car video, a lot of times it's fuzzy or it doesn't give you an entire picture. This is wide angle, high definition video. It shows everything. So you don't want to be doing anything that you shouldn't be doing to pick it up.
Robert, are you downloading the video for the constables as well?
We have not started that program yet, Commissioner. We have the cameras. They requested in their upcoming budget to buy a computer, and that's the only thing. Because the Commission on Law Enforcement designates them as a separate agency, each one of them, legally we cannot do that. We cannot put it into the county system. So what we wanted to do is they've asked each one of y'all to approve them getting their own computer. So what will happen is once they do their stuff is downloaded into their system. The law started last year. Legally, they should be doing it now to answer your question. They just don't have the capability of doing it unless they use their personal computer.
You know, there was some talk like that Austin PD was gonna be like a clearinghouse where they would let everybody download it to their servers. And some people are using IT companies to do that. I was just wondering.
I don't see that happening, Commissioner, because it's against the law for them to do that. As we spoke in the past, when I spoke about the grant application last year, we're seeing some enormous amounts of money being asked from these different law enforcement agencies. You know, ours was only $37,000. We're seeing hundreds of thousands, sometimes $1 million, and I'll tell you why. Because it's kind of like some of these other things that people jump on the bandwagon. A lot of these agencies are storing their information on the cloud. They're hiring IBM. They're hiring some of these bigger companies to download everything into their system. And these companies are charging thousands and thousands of dollars. For my previous life at the state, we had done it a different way. What we do is we set up our own in-house system and have our own internal drives, and that's why we have a data manager. She manages all of that. She moves that. She stores the videos. She categorizes it. And so you can do it for pennies on the dollar versus what those companies are doing. And so we're saving the county thousands of dollars doing it that way.
I still think that there's got to be a way that we could download the constable stuff into y'all's server some way. There's got to be a way to do that legally.
But the only way you can do it, Commissioner, you probably could do it, just buying another computer and hard drive for each one of them. Well, we can take care of it. Basically, our data manager can do it, but it puts more work on us. But we have to sit, in other words, what I'm saying, it can't be in one big system. We'd have to build a separate system for each one. And that's the only way to do it. Because if you look at it, each constable is assigned their own ID number as an agency. See, we're under, and this is a generic number, but 128 and 4 zeros is Karnes County's criminal justice number. EMS uses that, we use that, everybody related. So the constable is 128.1, 128.2, 128.3, 128.4. And that's how the county and the state designates them the difference. So we can legally, yeah, we can do it, but you're gonna have to buy some way to categorize it or it's hard to separate it. And so that's what they're telling us in the law.
I would think your data manager could kind of figure out a way to do that.
There's a way to do it, but I'm telling you, it can be done. It's just gonna have to be separate, a separate item for each constable. We cannot put it into the main system is what I'm telling you. It's all right.
Well, let me go off a little different path than Shelby's on, but would it be more cost effective to allow the constables, to allow the constables to buy cheaper, or whatever you're gonna call it, basic computers for their own use, or to try and design a system where all of them used it? You know, I'm thinking a relatively plain Jane computer is not very expensive, whereas you get to talking about a system, and that, to me, looks like it expands the dollars.
A computer that requires to run that type of video is around $1,200, $1,500 that they put in their budget, y'all saw. Now, the only way we can do it, if that's what the court wishes to do, we can just buy the hard drives, use our system, but every time a constable would come and download it in, we'd have to download it to that drive. But see, this is a big, gigantic software program like Tyler. It does the same thing as Tyler, but it's called DIMS. And what it does is it separates all the different things by department and all that stuff, and it puts resolutions time in there, like for minor calls that don't mean anything, because there's a retention period that the state provides to the county that we have to follow. So like if an officer accidentally turns his camera on and he just films the floor, and there's no relative value to it, he cuts the camera back off. It still has to be saved by law, but it goes into the system, and after 90 days, it's automatically deleted. The software deletes it for you. So you have to put a retention period for every type of video you use. Let's say it's a bad wreck and somebody gets killed, and for example, that video goes in a category and it could never be erased. And they put retention periods for shootings, for murders, for robberies, all those different things have to be in this software program. And the computer, that system is designed to eliminate what you don't want to save storage space and keep what you do need. And that's how it works.
And with the constables with the $1,200 computer, what I'm hearing is they would just save everything.
What they would get a version of the software
They
like
would,
Tyler
same
does.
thing.
It's kind of like the clerk's office, the tax office, they get their own version of the software. And what they do is when they download it, we'll set it up for them. Our data manager will put all the retention in there. When they download their stuff, they'll keep what's required of them. And if they get an open records request, we'll have to go in there and pull that material out of it. And then it'll erase what they don't need.
I don't think the constables are overworked. Maybe they could do that.
Well, if y'all like to further discuss this, we can. We'll sit down and talk about it. I mean, that's a possibility if y'all want to do that, but it's going to require us to do a little more work and just a little more equipment.
Well, and the constables are going to have to realize that they have to use the camera and they have the requirements of downloading and saving and et cetera.
And another thing you could maybe get by with, instead of buying 4 computers, you could probably maybe buy one and just buy 4 different hard drives and separate it by constable and just let, maybe we could figure something out, pay our person a little bit more money and just manage it for them. Buy one computer and,
What you think?
Well, having
I know
the,
City of Karnes City, they have an IT group that they contract with to upload theirs to, that's what I was wondering is, I don't know what the cost is, but I can find out. I hadn't checked with Kenzie yet.
well, it also would be a way to be able to monitor what the constables are doing.
I don't think we have any control over that.
No,
So
but
we
it-
find out they're not doing anything.
No, Rob, I'm just asking because
We're gonna publish it in the paper.
I guess my concern is that I want to make sure those constables are getting uploaded. That's my concern.
Yeah, that's the same thing I've thought about is, are they going to be diligent in what you're talking about?
Are you gonna make sure they have the ability to be diligent before they get
and
elected?
see, that's
If they
where,
find-
We can sit here and talk this how we can talk all we want to, but
Yes, sir, I agree with you.
I'm not sure.
Well, anyway, I just want to ask that question because.
And I agree with y'all, there needs to be some accountability there, and if something happens to one of those guys, or they get involved in something that's not properly there, the court's gonna be held liable, the county's gonna be held liable, not, I mean, them too, but it's gonna ultimately fall back on the court
County, that's
to
it.
do that, and so,
Officer of the county.
there needs to be a way to do it, and we can probably figure that out, if y'all wanna do that, we can sit down and talk about it, but.
What's your
Well,
mark?
Judge, I'll make a motion that we authorize the 2016 body cam resolution and for you to sign it and authorize Chief Deputy Robert E. Munson grantees authorized official.
I'll second it.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. You move forward and just kind of keep us informed. I'm not very computer literate, so I'll be the one that needs the most information.
And if anybody would ever like to come see that system, it's currently set up in the old office, we'll be moving it to the jail, but it's quite amazing, all the different things that are involved in that, so. Luckily, we have a person that can do that.
I'll come by and visit with you one day.
Yes, ma'am.
This isn't on the agenda, but do you have a date for the jail commission to approve
They inspected it last Thursday, Ms. Stinson, and they found 3 minor items. There was a couple of sprinkler heads that were not properly installed, and then in the Sallyport area where like when the conduit and the pipes come across, there was not a grate that covered that hole. And then one security system failed in one of the cells, and they just had to change that out. The jail commission didn't like it, so it was not a pass or fail. They just gave the architect and the contractor another week to get it fixed, and they assured us it'll be done today. Once they do that, they'll issue the certificate, and we'll start moving.
You start moving.
Yes, ma'am.
That was my question too, thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Yes, sir.
We're on item 10.
Sir.
No.
Well,
Well,
Okay. I don't know why I'm still looking at 10. Item 12 on the agenda, discuss, approve, disapprove the donation of material and work for material on County Road 240, agreement attached. Dale, that's yours.
Correct. This is a,
Wait a minute. I'm looking for the agreement that was supposed to be attached. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, this is a sample agreement that I took from the legal agreement that Buchanan used the last time, which I understand the court is going to start utilizing that format. So what I've done is taken that format and modified it to accept this material. Mickey Pope is here this morning. He is the owner of the company that is looking to use this material. He's been working with Mr. Gower. They have I guess you describe it as an oil reclamation company here in the county. And he's wanting to demonstrate this material use as a subgrade stabilizer. And so we're designating a half mile of County Road 240 to utilize this material on. And this is just bringing to you for your acceptance. One, if you're agreeable to this demonstration, then we will finalize the agreement. You'll notice that copy you have still has some blanks in it. We will finalize the agreement and bring it back to you for our next meeting on May 10th for official acceptance of the donation. And if you have any questions of the product or anything, I'm sure Mickey would be glad to answer any of those questions you have.
Didn't we already do this?
Approved me as a vendor, they approved me as a vendor, but the project has to be approved individually.
You already given your presentation and all.
Yes, sir, y'all approved me as a vendor some time ago, but each project has to be approved individually.
This is just going to be a trial.
Correct,
project.
we're just doing a half mile. Mickey is willing to donate, the material and do the work.
Excuse me for not looking before, but where's County Road 240?
Cranberry,
Which part of 240 you plan to do?
We'll be coming from 123 back 1/2 mile.
From the 27, 24 in the east end is where I think they want to be there.
Oh, you're right.
Where it gets 27, 24 over there, and then head back west.
24, FM 27, 24 back to the west, about to the curve here, this first half mile.
A half mile.
Right. Right.
And when is that going to be done?
It would depend on y'all's agreement, but probably the week after the 10th, so the third week of next month.
We're ready now.
I thought 240 ran to the Rio Grande facility. Isn't that 240?
On the other side of 123, I think it does run by there. We're talking about on the west side of 123.
Yeah, talking with Mike,
Point it out again on.
that section is what we have been looking at. From, FM 2724 back to the west 1/2 mile, or half mile, this section right here.
Say again.
From FM 2724 to the west, a half mile. See it on there?
Well, I'll be looking at the right place.
So here's
2724. And here's 240. So it's from here,
all on that side of
that,
the road.
that section
Is it to this highway?
of, no, it just it's probably half mile is
From
about
this
to
way.
this curve. Yes.
Why did y'all pick that section?
Commissioner Jar told me I was looking for a road that he thought.
Oh, okay, I see.
Commissioner Jar recommended that road.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he had some.
Yeah.
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 I feet, so.
Okay, now I know where it's at, but now I just want to, I was kind of, why that section was.
Yeah, this is what the commissioner was recommending and Mike.
So does that section have multiple residences on it, or?
That's my understanding, yes. There
Thank you.
have been some requests of work to be done in that area.
I probably slept, I know I've slept since then at least a little bit, but is the donation and release agreement something, again, that the county attorney has signed off on?
Not to my knowledge, he hasn't, but I don't know.
This format was the one used by Encana,
Yeah.
who I understand, I think it was, Mr. Chapman had put that agreement
He did,
together
okay.
in conjunction with the
Okay.
county attorney.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, so some legal entity that works for the county has blessed it, so.
Correct. What I did, I guess 2, 3, 4, and 5 are from that agreement. Section 1 is basically just a description of what's being done, so that changes all of the time.
Sure.
The other paragraphs are basically verbatim out of that original agreement.
If it's something Jeff had approved before, I don't have a problem with it then. What,
Do we know that Jeff approved?
only by Dale saying so.
Yeah, that's my understanding. It was an official form, and I asked where it came from, and that's what I was told.
Who told you?
Mike did. But it took about 6 months to get it processed and approved through.
Well, let's check and make sure that that's so. I'm not aware of it. Is anybody on the court aware of it?
I remember an agreement with Encana, but beyond that, that's the extent of any specific knowledge.
James, you've been here a long time.
I'll never do it.
I mean, I remember Encana doing some things, but, whether that was.
Well, let me put this back on the agenda for the next meeting and let's look back and see if we can find what's been done.
We don't have any, I don't have any, I can't speak for anyone else. I don't have any issues with doing the project, don't misunderstand.
Well, I don't either.
But we want to make sure that if we start something that it has been blessed by one or the other of the legal authorities
Correct.
on a more than hearsay basis.
Well, and that was the plan, is that we would have the formal agreement format filled in and ready to go for the next meeting. So if y'all are in agreement with utilizing the materials on this roadway, then I'll do the investigation for the legal format and get back to
Okay.
the judge and
Yeah.
verify that.
And we'll put it on the next
On the
agenda.
next agenda, we will have the legal document that
Okay.
has been approved, ready to go. and
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Anything else?
Not on that one.
Okay.
Oh, one other thing, let me just, going through my notes here. We have several of these different vendors that you all have approved that we are beginning to get back now that I am here. Mike has kind of put them off until I've gotten here. So they've come to the office and made presentations to me, and we're working with several of them to try and come up with some locations. We've got a plastic polymer that we put down this last week out on County Road 194, 3.5 miles of that roadway, at a cost of about $10,000 a mile. From what we can see on smaller sections, it works fairly well. Again, it stabilizes the subgrade material to where we eliminate the dust. I've got another product that we're finalizing costs on. They're needing to add some material to the roadway yet, their material to work. However, the estimates are looking like $100,000. Because y'all have approved them as vendors, as with Mr. Pope here, I'm not sure y'all have approved the use of the work at that cost. So again, I will be bringing those products as they come in for approval from you all to be used.
Dale, I think most of that was approved on an experimental or trial basis, more so than an agreement to purchase of any sort.
Okay. All right. If it looks like they're beneficial and a reasonable cost, I'll bring them to you, but if they're just outrageous, I don't think you need to be wasting your time. If it's not going to be cost effective.
I'm going to run past you, but Mr. Pope, we appreciate, or I appreciate in behalf of the county, that what you're willing to do. If this is successful, when we get away from the freebie, how much does the material, would the material cost?
We've agreed to give the town the material as much as they want to use. We're paid to put the product out on the tax model to show that it'll be beneficial in the way we do it in a more engineered type road back than just going rock on road. I think we've also agreed to look for the share the cost and be transparent so we can verify that there is a cost savings to what the county's been doing. We think there'll be a significant savings. Ongoing, the material we get is free, but I won't be paying for the rock to go on top of it forever.
Okay, well, that's what I remember, that there was some vendor that had a freebie, but I didn't remember if it was you
We'll get the
specifically.
material as long as it's beneficial to the county and they want to use it. We'll be gifting it and loading the trucks for free. This first section, we're paying for the entire cost.
I see, okay. Thank you for clarification.
We just get you good subgrade.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Dave.
Anything further?
Not on that.
Okay.
You got the next 3 or 4?
You got Maurice wants something.
What?
A question, I'm kind of getting from the drift of the conversation. Is the county going to abandon chip seal program on county roads? Just a general question.
We haven't made that decision yet. I don't believe. And what we're gonna do, we won't know until we,
Well, I understand that, but I just want to know if this,
I don't think we can tell you, is what I'm saying to you, at this point. I don't think anybody's gonna obligate themselves up here in a meeting like this, to vote a particular way on something.
I'm not asking you to vote, I'm just asking for.
Well, that's what it takes, is a vote to do anything. And, We're not there yet.
I can tell you that these products are not a substitute or a replacement to seal coat. Okay, this is just another tool that I'm looking to utilize for a dust suppressant, not necessarily a new surface to substitute in place of a seal coat.
Great.
It's an addition to, not in place of.
And that's all I was asking.
Okay. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Leo, would you speak into the microphone, please?
I guess maybe I ought to turn it on. Does that help?
Go ahead.
You want to go to the next item? You ready to go to 13 then?
Is everybody else?
Yes, sir.
Item 13 on the agenda is discuss, approve, disapprove road and bridge to acquire a new copier. They will copy 11 by 17 and fax for $6,362, and that's plus the trade-in, if I remember right.
That's correct.
Attachment number 1, price breakdown, I'm not sure.
You should have a copy of the
DeWitt Post, is that it?
Correct. Correct. We currently have a copier from DeWitt Post and Sons that provide that equipment. We talked to them about modifying that existing copier to allow the prints on the 11 by 17 inch paper. That will allow me to print plan sheets from our existing projects or any future projects to where we will have the large scale and will not have to rely on Naismith to provide those copies to us. Our current fax machine also is one with just a telephone where it brings and prints the paper out. We get so few copies or fax from that equipment that a lot of times the copy when it comes out is so faded you can't read it because the cartridge, the ink cartridge in it has been there and unused so long that it's basically dried up. And the copy machines have the capability of having fax put in them. It's just that the copier that we have does not have the module for it, and they check the copier is not physically able to copy 11 by 17 larger paper either. So we asked them to get us a estimate, a proposal as to what it would take to have it done. So that proposal that you have is for a black and white copier, just like we have. It has a $15,849 discount for our existing copier, which leaves a balance of, that $15,849 is the cost of the copier. The discount for our machine is $9,487, which remains a purchase price of $6,362 for the new machine.
And you have this in your budget somewhere?
We don't actually have a line item for minor equipment, but there is a miscellaneous line item that has $14,000 remaining in it that I would.
And that's where you want.
I would recommend taking it from that miscellaneous line item. Correct.
Okay, Lauren.
Okay, is there a motion to that effect?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. All voted for it. Motion carried. Okay, item 14, is that the next?
Yes.
Discuss, approve, disapprove the county road number for the recognized road discussed during the April 12th Commissioners meeting. The suggested number is 361. Dale, you want to review that for us?
Yeah, last meeting you'll remember that we had the discussion with Mr. Boyd and the church as to ownership of that facility with deed to the property. You know, the court did determine that the county does own that right of way. Therefore, we need to have it open and used by the public. In order to do that, we need to designate a county road number for that route. Looking at the numbers that have not been used in the county since the county road that it is connecting to is 360, I would recommend something in the 360s range, and 361 is available. It is not used on any of the other roads, so therefore I'm suggesting that we just use 361 designation.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there any rhyme or reason, and I don't mean this in a cynical or negative way, but the way we number, like in most road systems, north and south is odd and east and west is even. Do we do that, or is that do we follow that at all?
Normally, the counties will designate their roads in accordance with their precincts. All 100 would be precinct 1. But I've noticed in this county that that designation has not been utilized. So
those things move now because of voting changes. So,
correct. So I don't think there's really any real rhyme or reason as to what roadways are there or what their numbers are.
I was curiosity, not a plus or minus. I would move that we designate the aforementioned road to be numbered 361.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. It'll be road number 361.
And with that designation, then I will.
County road number 361.
Correct. And I will work with our sign crew to get those, a stop sign and a road sign designated for that intersection, and also work with Mr. Moy and the church to try and get that gate removed as quickly as we can out there. Keep you all informed.
Boy, you're here. You have any comment or anything?
Well, yes, sir. There's actually equipment, material, transfer water hoses, the big round hoses, and there's the metal ramps on that county road. They use that access to pump that water out of that uranium mine. And I have called the company.
Who's in there? I mean, who's taking the water is what I'm asking.
Rockwater was contracted to move the water to some plant or some reservoir towards Yorktown. But regardless, they're through removing the water. So I called them and I told them, I said, this is a county road. And I said, to my knowledge, I think you're supposed to have a permit. I said, but I think y'all need to get your equipment on and all your materials. So they went out there to start moving it, and the people from the church stopped them from moving it, told them it wasn't a county road, and made them leave. And the material's still on the county road. Well, now that it is a county road, like Shelby said earlier, county might be entitled to some money for the permit. Am I right?
Yeah, if, I think since there was a change, they should, this would be the gentlemanly, or what I consider gentlemanly way, is give them reasonable notice, like 10 minutes to get it off. I mean, give them some notice to get it off, because if the circumstances changed while they were there.
Right.
And I don't think the county's out to penalize anyone. If they choose to leave it there, then they need to go by the permits.
Well, they failed to tell us here in the courtroom that day with their arguments or discussion of what the reasoning for the gate. But I find out that there's some legal action going on, there's a dispute, and that's why they're trying to hold all that company's equipment and not let them have it. But it's on county property, and that, if the church wants to take it and put it on their property, I'd say that's fine. But I think it should be moved off the county road, because this week they bladed 360, and if the gate had been removed and all that equipment out of the way, they could have run a blade down there for an hour and a half, and it'd have been done. But we're still with the gate hanging with a lock on it, And they told me they had 60 days, and it's kind of where we're at with it. I'm
Do
not
we
arguing
give
with
them 60 days?
Judge, no, when we were sitting here, I kind of threw it out that maybe we would give him 60 days. Herb stood up and said, no, we weren't gonna, not to give him anything. So I asked the gentleman that was sitting there, I told him, do you have any other, do you have livestock there? He said, yes. I said, do you have some other place you can contain your livestock? He said, yes, I have another section on the other side. So I told him, well, then if it's like that, we're not gonna give you any days, and that was period. They were supposed to take off the gate that day. There wasn't, I was gonna give him 60 days, that's what my recommendation was. Herb said no. So I asked him out of courtesy, do you have a place to keep your livestock? When he said yes, I made the motion, I took away the 60 days, and we passed it through court to where the gate came off then. Am I correct?
I think you're right.
And it's still up.
It's still up.
Oh, yes.
Correct. Well, then we need to remove the gate.
And that's what I would recommend, is that now that we have a county road number that it is now today on the county system, I will send the church a letter notifying them
Well,
of
it's
that.
been on the county system, whether we've acknowledged it or not, I don't care. It's part of the county road system, and I know what's going on, I understand.
But I would recommend that I send them a letter.
And I don't
notifying that
disagree
it
with
needs-
that.
It needs to come down, and then in whatever time frame, or I'll just, in the letter, it'll say it needs to come down immediately, and then I'll keep you informed as to what their reactions are.
I'd say within no more than 10 days from the receipt of the letter.
Okay.
And send it certified mail, return receipt.
Right. Okay.
Would you think it'd be advisable, Judge, for him also to notify, is it Breakwater, you said?
Rockwater.
Of the same thing with their equipment?
Well, once we have the gate removed and I have access to the roadway, there may be other things there that we need to do.
Okay,
You know, so once we have access to the roadway, we will inspect it to see what all is there and what needs to be done, or who else we need to contact, you know,
Okay.
whatever. And then we'll take whatever action is necessary at that time.
okay.
Dan, will you notify Twala so it can be put into the 911 system?
Yes.
The road, anyway, I don't know if there's a residence out there or not, I have no idea, but it's gotta be an address or something.
When did we,
Is there any residence?
No, sir.
when was the last meeting? Does anybody remember the date, the exact date of the last meeting?
April
12.
April 12th. Okay, so it's already been, what, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks?
I figure by the time they get the letter, in my opinion, by the time they get the letter and give them 10 days as just suggested after that, that's ample time.
Mayor,
Yeah,
now
and I can
another
work with-
issue, just so y'all know, Judge, you recommended that they have it surveyed, and there are some survey stakes out there. And, the one up against the Winters Ranch, WINTER, that stake is right on the corner post, got the stake, one or two, it says CP number, and it's got the steel peg right there. Then they head up towards what's gonna be 361, up towards that corner. And the next peg winds up, outside the fence on the county road, 360. And then it breaks, I should have brought the survey in here to show you.
Have you got a copy of the survey?
Yes, yes, sir, out in my truck. I think I do. But it breaks, and it actually, they've got a stake and a peg on the right-hand side of that road. In other words, it's all the way across the road, and there's a stake and a peg there that says CP, and it has a number sign. They didn't put a number on it, but it says CP. Then it jumps over the road and has another stake, and when you look at the survey, and all I'm saying is that either Pollock's in the way in the beginning, someone may have made a mistake, or maybe those people are making a mistake, or maybe that doesn't even apply. But it does, they do have two stakes that says something designated there that very well could mean that the fences are off on 360 and 360 is on part of their property. I'm not saying that's what it is, but I'm telling you, there's stakes on the county road.
Did Pollock survey? Is it?
No, sir, because I called Pollock's, I said, hey, did y'all do surveying in Gillette this last week? And she said, no, we didn't. And I said, are you sure? Because I was sure because their survey they had said Pollock, so I would have used the same survey company. But they must have brought somebody else in. She actually went to the engineers and made sure that nobody went out there and surveyed. She got back on and said, nobody surveyed. When you go all the way to the road where our property is, and our property does hit the new 361 County Road, they've got a peg there too. So they did survey their outer branch, but they did not survey that road. So there, the fences, of course, if they build fences where the old fences are, they're probably okay. But I just want y'all to be aware that there's stakes on the county road. But they've had that property for over 10 years, and I looked at adverse possession, and I looked at all that, so I don't know, and I don't want to take any more time because maybe those are reference points, but it sure looked like.
I was going to say, the one across the road may be a starting point, maybe a reference point.
Could be.
And as far as adverse possession with government-owned property, you can't adversely possess government-owned property.
No,
Well,
what I'm saying
this
is
is an
that
issue that we've got all over the county. And that this may be only one of a handful of deeds the county actually has to their property.
There may be no
Right.
deeds. There are many county roads that there are no deeds.
There are no deeds. It's
And that
just,
doesn't keep them from being a public county road.
that's correct. And what we have basically done is wherever there are existing fences, wherever there are existing utility poles, the county basically goes in and says everything between the fence that we have maintained the road on is now county right of way. Okay, and I've talked to several property owners here in the county already that they have done their property survey. They want to put a new fence in, so they'll have somebody come out and survey it. And I'll get the phone call, well, our pins are in the middle of your roadway. And that's because years ago, whoever owned it decided to donate 20 feet, 30 feet, whatever, and built their fence on that dedication line, but nobody ever went back to change the original deeds. And
Well, there
so,
may not have been an original deed. You know that there.
correct. And so that's why when we find these surveys or when we get those phone calls, we're telling them, put the fence back in the position that the old fence was, or the best you can. I'm not gonna argue over a foot or two if it changes. But we can't have the fence line running down the center of our roads. We've got to have that reasonable width. And wherever the old fence lines are, that's what we've got to maintain. So I'll be back out there to look, and if we do get that feeling that they're trying to move their fences substantially, then we'll have to contact them also.
But I'm not saying that, I'm just letting y'all, I want y'all to be aware that there's some stakes out on the county road.
Yeah.
It may not ever come up, but the way they are, I have a feeling you'll hear something, if that is.
Yeah, no, we'll investigate it and verify. But that also brings up another like item. I've gotten some roadways out there that I'm being told are county roads, but there are no numbers on them.
Wow.
They're named roads. And so I'm gonna have to do some investigation with those. But in order to be a county road, just like this one, it has to have a county road number on it.
Look
So
into
it can be
it,
in
and
the
we
system.
need to do whatever we need to do.
And I'll bring those to you
And
as
because there's no deed or anything, doesn't keep it from being a county road.
That's correct.
I don't care what anybody says.
That's
They
correct.
don't know what they're talking about.
Judge, I don't remember the exact year, 2002, 2003, 2004, somewhere around there. Correct me if I'm wrong, didn't some people come up and they wanted us to, it was a county road, they wanted us to put the names on there, and went to court, and we voted to give those names to those county roads and not a number.
And that's fine. You can have a name on a county road. There's nothing to prevent that. But you have to have a county road number with it.
And they don't have a number beside it.
And a couple of them that I have seen do not. And so that's what we have to straighten out. Because there are several roads that I've got both a name and a number, and we can put it on the sign, there's no problem with it. You put the number on top and the name on
277 has a
top.
number, and
Right.
I thought we had given them numbers too.
Because
That
there
one
was
road
a,
you're talking about on this map shows to be a private lane. KDM?
Yeah.
right,
Yeah, that's one of them.
that's one of them, and then the Dugash Road
Yeah,
between
that was a long time ago.
Hobson and Panna Maria. They didn't want the number associated with it, and it was mandatory that the court do that. It was a big
Yeah,
shebang.
and we can put the name on the sign, that's not a problem, you can have both designations. But in order to be a county road on the system, it has to have a number.
One other thing I did ask Mr. Stein, and he said he would do it, I surely want a dead end sign designated out there, because if not, you're gonna have some big piece of equipment or something go down that road, and then the only way they can turn around is to back up on the people's property, and they don't want anybody on their property, so it'd be tough for a big oil tanker to try to turn around back in.
Right, we'll have to, again, look at the road and all necessary signage, whatever, will have to be done.
Mr. Moore, I know I asked if you could stay around here until the end of the meeting so we could figure something out, but is what we've done here and what we're going to do satisfactory, or do you want something different from that? Because I know what we had originally said in court, it came down that day, but now we're saying, Darryl said he could send them a letter, we're kind of still talking about maybe 10 days, whatever. We had originally said it came down, and they haven't took it down, so.
Well, I think they just misunderstood the whole thing in here at the end, and I don't have a problem. I really wanted to get all the stuff off that county road so that, like yesterday, they could have run, or last week, they could have run, but laid down there. Of course, the gate was up, it had been removed. So I don't mind, but I just think you need to put a deadline date, and I don't think it would even hurt to say by noon. You know, you gotta, these people are hard to deal with. They've been in my face more than once out there. I've kept my cool, but it's like dealing with a fence post.
So then, Darryl, what are we exactly we're gonna do here so we can get?
I will have a letter in the mail, Monday, and the date will be 10 days from that.
You ought to do it 10 days from their receipt of it if possible.
All right, and we can get that, and I will require
And
a
send it
signature
certified mail,
return.
so they're.
Correct. And we'll use the date then that they signed it as a receipt. We'll use it from that 10 days.
10 days period.
Judge, if you think he should lawyer it and go ahead and send a non-certified copy also,
Yeah.
because they may set on the thing and just not pick it up.
Right.
If they don't sign for it, I think it's 10 days, the
15.
post office will return it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, and then we will take other legal actions.
But the idea is a good idea to send it both certified and regular mail at the same time.
Because it takes less time, or if they do not, if the regular mail one is not delivered, it'll come back to you in about 4 days. The other one will take 20.
Right, right. And I think it also is probably a copy to their attorney.
Yeah, they got one and we know it.
Correct.
Yeah, Mr. Rosales, you asked me if there's anything else. Well, once they get these letters, it's all issued, and the gate still hangs, are we gonna have a deputy go and, or someone to remove the gate? Because these people are hard-headed. How will we have the gate removed if they just flat refuse? Or does somebody wind up through the county attorney being arrested and charged for it?
Well, I think after we get the notification, we can work those things out then.
I think we need to get with the county attorney and see what legal actions my crews can take and how that can happen.
Because they've been threatened 3 or 4 times that you got 10 days from this time, you got 10 days from this time, and they just, it doesn't
They're
bother
working the system.
Well, we've made it a road now, so I think we have a process where that 10 days thing's gonna stop.
Yeah.
them. Okay, thank you.
We voted it to come down, to take it out that day, and they got 20-something more days now. And now maybe another 20 days if they were to pick it up, so if we keep giving them more days and more days and more days.
Well, that's what us lawyers do for a living.
I was gonna say, that's what I said.
We're not gonna stop that.
We're lawyering it, yeah.
So,
You know, once, if it doesn't come down, then the next thing is legal action, and that damn sure gets slow.
yeah. That's good. You want to say something? I thought you waved your hand. You made me scratch your ear.
She's getting peppered.
He's hunting hair on his head.
Oh. No, don't rub his head. Anything else? Go ahead, Steve.
Not on that one.
Okay.
So one would be sent to his attorney too, so that means that
Yeah.
if his attorney gets it,
When
they have to get it, they have to get it.
They get due notice, so. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so the next one would be 15.
Yes, sir.
We can discuss, approve, disapprove process to classify all county roads. And it says attachments 2, which is this.
Yeah, what I've given you is a copy of the Transportation Code 251.007, classification of county roads. And the Commissioners Court of each county shall classify each public road in the county as a first class, second class, or third class, and then it gives you the description of each one of those. Basically, the first class roads are your major thoroughfares.
Has this never been done here?
Not that I have found, no. Okay, but don't feel alone. I don't think
Well, it
it's
didn't
been done in a
surprise
lot of
me.
counties. But where we are looking to determine, you know, what quality of roadways are we looking for a specific county road, this is your first step in doing that. Okay, your class 1 is your major thoroughfare, where are the highest volumes of traffic getting from point A to point B. Class 2 is a little less, more of what I would designate as a normal county road. Class 3 are those roads that have very little volumes on them, more like a dead-end road, similar to this 361 now, would be a class 3.
We need some way to identify those by traffic numbers and do a system to where we know what the numbers are.
We don't necessarily need to go through a formal engineering traffic count. I think they're gonna, when we look at the county map, I think it's going to pretty plainly designate what roads will be what category.
And you're working on that?
And if you all agree that this process needs to occur, then yes, I will work on a draft to present to the court for modifications if necessary or final approval. Now, establishing this classification does not necessarily mean that all class 1 will be surface, steel coated, asphalt, whatever. It doesn't mean that class 3s will be prohibited from being surface. Okay, all it's doing is establishing what generally will occur. Okay, so that we have a beginning point as to where we're going with our roadways and how we can schedule for budgeting purposes what roadways are we going to spend more time and effort on.
You mentioned when you quoted the code a while ago that the commissioners are supposed to do that. That's just saying the commissioners court is supposed to assign those designations, not that the commissioners are supposed to go out and classify their precinct codes.
Well, if you are a precinct road county, then the county commissioners themselves can designate that. But it's the court's responsibility to make that final decision.
As an administrative action.
Yes. Yes, it's not physically meaning they have to personally go out and do that. Now, I would like to have any input you all have on what roads in your areas you feel should be, particularly a class 1. Okay, so that we know where those thoroughfares are. Now, through the last 2 months with my travel through the roadways, I have a pretty good idea as to where those roadways are and where they should fall. And so I'll get that done for you here in the next month. Or hopefully, first meeting in June, we'll have a first draft of where those roadways are. We can get it publicized where the citizens know what we're looking at and where they are also.
I'm not sure, as you're doing that, and not for, I would hope you do it for yourself, but for the court. Class, all ones that you're concluding that are class 1B, one color code them all.
Yes. Yes.
And the class 2 is a different color than class 3, so you can look at the map and see without searching around for numbers and looking at your
Correct.
record and.
Correct. No, as an engineer, I'm very visual and like multicolors. So yes, it will be a large one that, as our resolution this morning designated us, senior citizens can read easily.
Good. There are a lot of us around.
Yes.
This information that you're gonna gather essentially be used to develop a master plan for the county?
Yes, it can be. That's the whole plan, is that this being the first step in classifying them will give us a clear designation as to where the major roadways, major thoroughfares of the county are, so that we can designate, what kind of surfaces do we want? What kind of speed limits do we want? What kind of safety devices do we want? Normally your higher classified roadways and the higher volumes, just safety and speed goes along with that. And so this will be the first step that will allow us to then build more onto a master plan as to where we're going and what we want as a final product for the county.
Now, can I say something nice?
Sure.
I would like to applaud Mr. Stein for actually coming to this court and saying he's going to take the first steps to develop a master plan for the county roads in this county. Thank you, sir.
Now that you've got the claps, we can.
Not the clap, not the clap.
The health department left already.
Y'all can think where you want your dirty mind to go, but I was speaking from a higher viewpoint.
We do appreciate the effort there.
And we will begin that, and I will work to have that draft by the end of the month, where the first June meeting, you will have a map.
You've got many other things to do that you're working on also.
And it all ties together, so
Yes.
I've got a lot of the data, right now.
If we pass this designation, and I don't see any reason why we wouldn't, would there be any other action necessary for us to go ahead and change the speed limits on what obviously would be class 1 road like 326 or 211? Would we have to take further action to change the speed limits on those days?
Yes, because this classification will not necessarily set a standard speed limit for a class 1.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that can be expanded on in the future. Speed limits typically are road dependent, as to the condition of the road and other factors will determine what speed limit it is. So usually you would not say all class 1s are
45.
45 or whatever.
That's fine.
Dale, let me ask
You go ahead.
a stupid question, but can we limit the speed limits for trucks only?
Highway Department finds that it's not safe to have a dual speed limit.
Well, I'm just asking because for my thing is that these tankers that are going up and down the road hauling salt water and condensate or wherever they're hauling, that stuff is sloshing And some of these guys actually have, on regular highways, have, flipped over and did things. I'm just wondering on county roads, plus I guess my main, the other than the safety part of it is that it would maybe save our roads a little bit without the extra bump.
Who's gonna enforce it?
Well, we got the sheriff back there.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's gonna enforce it?
Speed really doesn't have a whole lot to do with damage. It's the weight and the number of those weights that are on the roadway. And enforcement is the big thing.
Robert says
Through the 35 years I keep of highway work, I keep getting phone calls from everyone. Why don't you lower the speed? Why don't you raise the speed limits? And TxDOT spends millions of dollars a year on signs. But I've frequently commented that signs are worthless without the enforcement. And you can see
If you'll come and watch all our videos that we've been enforcing on the new highway y'all built around the Falls City River Bridge, what's that, County Road 211?
211.
Been writing ticket after ticket after ticket after warning there. And people are screaming bloody murder, but it's being done. So just so you know, it is being enforced.
Yeah, and as long as the speed limit sign is up, even though, they may feel it should be higher, which it probably does on
You
211.
probably will get some feedback. There are several citizens that have contacted us, said they have to come to the court and ask for that to be raised on 211.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing on 326.
And that's the thing.
326 is another one.
I will be before you, once those projects construction is finished, as I've mentioned before, I will be bringing that request to you that we increase the speed, because it doesn't make any sense to artificially keep it low and force the sheriff to do extra work when legally and not necessarily legally, but safety would allow it to be increased.
At what speed, increase in speed, do you have to go more safety norms?
We got a built-in speed limit.
Yeah.
Really with the safety is not dependent upon speed. Again, it's every road, every situation. Okay, we've got some situations out there where we may, in residential areas, where it may be posted at 20. If we've got structures that have steep drop-offs with just small signs, that could realistically require additional safety devices with guardrails.
There is a transportation code statute, Dale, that says if you raise it above a certain speed limit, that there's additional safety matters that have to be added to that.
Well,
I think that's 45, right?
That's correct.
Yeah,
So you
and
gotta be careful there when you go to there, because if you exceed that,
Then-
then there's extra culverts, extra guardrails, extra curves on the ditch and all that. So
it's not necessarily extras, but it's a higher quality of the safety. Okay, with our county roads, and the volume of roadways and the speed limits we had, the old TxDOT turn downs on our guardrail, where it's just a single piece of 25-foot rail that is twisted, that's adequate. TxDOT has had to get away from that on their roadways because of the volume of traffic and the speeds of the traffic. They found that those became ramps where it would launch a vehicle rather than collapse the way it was designed to. That's why you see so many of these expensive attenuators, the square end, that when you hit it, it strips the rail rather than collapses it. Okay, so as Robert's saying, once you get above that speed limit, now you have to go to the higher classification of safety devices. But safety devices are dependent upon the situation and not necessarily the speed or the volume of traffic, because it only takes one vehicle to miss the curve or wander off the edge of pavement and drop in the hole to be an issue.
There's a statute, like a requirement, a statute for any county, and we don't follow the state requirements, that we have to pick up the speed, it's solely up to Commissioner's Court? Is there a statute that states that we have to pick up the speed limit because we have a paved road? I haven't seen one within the county, so, and I know we don't follow the state one.
Yeah, I think we would fall under the normal, state and federal guidelines that we have to follow the normal established safety and speed guidelines. Now,
Depending on the condition of the road, if it's paved, you're saying we may have to follow the guidelines to get it up to 45?
correct. Now, you're correct. If the court so chose, we could keep every one of them at 30 miles an hour.
It stops with Commissioner's Court.
If the court so chose. However, the sheriff is going to be working extremely long overtime hours to enforce it. The way the speed limits in the nation are set, and it's been proven since they were establishing the speed limits through 50, 60, 70 years now of studies. In order to establish what the correct and legal speed limit is, you should do an engineering study. Meaning someone sits on the road with a radar gun and measures a set number of vehicles as to what speed they are naturally driving. Because it has been proven over and over again, a supposed safe and prudent driver will only drive a specific speed on a roadway that he feels safe in driving. You know, think of yourself when you're out there and driving on the road. How often do you actually look at your speedometer to see how fast you're driving? Most of us don't. We drive the speed that we feel comfortable with other drivers around us, situations, conditions, driveways, whether it's rural, whether it's urban. You drive what you are comfortably and feel safe at driving. And so if you artificially set it low, we're going to get a lot of work and a lot of complaints from the drivers here in the county.
I agree with that. I just have a problem. As human nature, you see 55, you go 65. You see 65, you go 75. It's all right. You see 70, you go 80. You see 30, you go 40, 45. You see 45, you go 60. We got there's school bus routes. There's people that take their kids out. Their county roads have hills and dips and everything. There's a driver and then somebody's doing 55. They may still do it, but human nature, like you're talking about, you have a tendency when you see a speed limit sign, you're going to speed no matter what. It just gives you a little bit higher in your mind to speed. That's what I think.
Well, and that's the thing. I will be looking at all the roadways that we have sealed. I've got probably a third of them done already. I'm not recommending every one of those sealed roadways be increased to 40 or 45. Okay, the other thing that we've got to do with them is also put some center stripes out there.
Double line.
You know, we've got roadways out there that we have no center stripes on any of our county roads that I've been able to find.
Say, I don't think there's any out there.
Okay, I have not found any yet. And so like you're saying, where we have curves, where we have hills, we have got to get those stripes out there where people know that you are not going to make it if you pass. So don't even try.
Is there, I know the state has, like when you put the white stripe, isn't there like 15 or 20 feet to the middle of the culvert? Would the county have to have something like an 8 or 10 foot? Would we have to set something like that? Because there is some footage, I don't know the exact in the footage, but from where the state places a white line on the side, it has to be so many feet away from the middle of the culvert. Would the county have to adopt something like an 8 foot or 10 foot?
Well, I think what you're describing is the solid white edge stripe, which is the shoulder line. Over, okay. That does not necessarily designate a shoulder or distance from any object. What that's designating is the edge of the travel lane. Okay, now TxDOT, if they don't have shoulders, what they have found on high volume or high speed roadways is it's nice to have that solid white line on the right where you know where that edge of pavement is at. Particularly if you've got less than a 12-foot travel lane. Okay, normal travel lanes from the center stripe to the edge is 12 foot. But there are some 10-foot wide, even 9-foot wide farm to market roads out there. Okay, and that's where they will use that solid white line. Now, most of our sealed roadways that have been constructed here recently are 12 to 14 foot wide, but there is no shoulder. Okay, so I'm not suggesting that we go through with that cost to add a solid white line. I think all we need is just the center line to designate that. But there isn't a set distance from either of those lines that you have to have the head walls or the structures, solid objects.
What about the edge of pavement? I don't know where I read that once with the state. Let me look at that, I don't know where I got that from, but I thought it was a set thing from the middle of the culvert to either the edge of the pavement. I thought it was a white line, but it makes the edge. I'll look it up.
Well, you're probably referring to the clear zone.
The clear zone, exactly.
Okay.
Couldn't think of the name of it.
And there, if you have a solid object within that clear zone, and it varies depending upon the speed limit of the roadway. If you have a culvert head wall, if you have as we've seen some of these brick mailboxes, if you're a tree, within that clear zone, depending on what width it is, then it has to be protected or removed. Okay, protection is guardrail. And so there's several items out there that I have seen that need to be removed. I'm not an environmentalist per se, but I don't like removing trees just to remove trees. Okay, they're beneficial. However, I have found a couple of roadways out here that we've got some 36-inch diameter trees
In the middle of the road.
in the middle of the road. Those have got to go. One is about to be surfaced, which is going to require the speed limit because where this tree is at, it's got a 4-mile straight line, and between the fence and that tree is 15 foot. And on either side of it, we're going to be paving 20 to 24 foot. And I'm not going to split traffic around it. I've seen the results of that. So, I don't know what the process is in order to get the tree removed, but we've got to remove that one pretty quick.
Let me say that I don't know either, but I'm strongly against cutting down old trees.
I'm too.
I totally agree with you. The only other option is to acquire additional right-of-way and buy the right-of-way and build the road the correct width to go around.
Of course, we see highways that are trees down the middle between both sides of the highway. I can show you some.
And we can do that as
But
long as we...
there's plenty of room, of course.
Yes, and we would have to put up the guardrail on both sides and protect it and everything too. And that's an option. I mean, that's why I haven't told the crews to go out there with chainsaws right now and cut it down.
Well,
I want to bring it to the court to see what you all want done and how we do it.
315 has some bobbles in the road with big 315.
What are
It's
bobbles?
over trees that have grown out into the road. They're not in the middle like you're saying.
They're too close to the side.
Yeah, you gotta move a little to get around them, but they're still in the ditch. They're not in an issue situation.
Correct.
I have property along there, and we've trimmed around them and cleaned up and everything, but they probably could use some reflectors or something. But anyway, I'm sorry, I'm off the subject.
I think on those oak, especially if they're oak trees, they're that large.
Right.
I think they're classified as ancient trees, and I think there is a state law that prohibits removal of them. And there's some other language in there, but some of them, they are protected. Ancient trees.
think the county burned one one time, in the Stormers precinct. There was one of them that was infected with bees, and the crews lit it up, and had to treat other days up. That was a long time ago, but I think it was the Stormers precinct,
I
right?
think so.
Yeah, I think there are some exceptions pertaining to transportation on those, and that's.
Well,
Well,
let's
we
move
can
on.
deal with
We'll
that.
have to make some- we'll have to make some determinations on these things for safety issues.
And you're happy with what you have here?
As the first step, yes.
I move that we accept the classification as presented for our county roadways in item 15.
Also,
Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All voting for. Item 16 on the agenda, that's yours, Dale.
Yes.
Discuss disapprove insurance value for the two buildings located at the Falls City Road and Bridge property. Currently listed as a storage building, $25,000, and equipment building, $40,000, and we have photos that show these buildings. So go ahead, Dave.
This is kind of a joint, Luana had sent me some emails here a couple weeks ago on insurance issues with equipment and buildings, trying to prepare for the new budget and new premiums. This was one that we have not included yet. As you can see from the photos, these are older metal buildings. I think by the description, the storage building is actually the one with the two facilities on it. That's designated for $25,000, and the equipment building is the shed where the vehicles are stored. The question that we did not want to decide on ourselves without input from you all. Are these buildings worth the value that we are insuring them for? Or do we want to reduce it or even eliminate it from insurance? Now, the judge asked a good question yesterday when I was talking to him, is what's the premiums? So
On the
we're going to check on that.
$25,000 storage building, the annual premium is $53.83. And on the $40,000, it's $76.27.
Okay, so out of the $65,000, we're looking at roughly $125.
per year.
So,
Per year?
per year.
To insure for 25 and 40?
Correct.
53 what?
83 and 76.27.
Let's head the other direction.
$130.
If these buildings were destroyed, fire, storm, whatever, would they pay the depreciated value, or would they pay the book value?
We are insured a replacement value.
At replacement value.
And the replacement value, they're still gonna go investigate how old the roof is and all that. I just did that myself on one of my buildings, and it was a replacement value or the other value on it, and I was gonna get the replacement value, but they were still gonna go back and see how old the roof was. They were still gonna depreciate it, so it came out better the other way, because they're still gonna nail you no matter
I was gonna say, unless you have an absolute, what the policy says is what they'll pay, then you're not gonna get 25 or 40 for them. You're gonna get way some less.
And this one here doesn't look like it's being used anyways with all the.
What's your suggestion?
Vegetation right there.
Correct, and that's the thing that I was thinking about, is if they were to be destroyed, would we even replace them?
Probably not.
The only thing we're using that facility for right now is just storage of salvaged surplus equipment. And I have yet to look inside the buildings. I don't know what is stored there, but again, I'm being told that it's just surplus items.
Well, if it were mine, I wouldn't even insure them, but that's mine, not the county, so.
So I don't know if it's worth since it's $130 or so, if it's worth keeping them on the policy to where we receive something for them, to where we could utilize that money to put something on that property in the future, or,
Would it,
just leave it and take our chances.
based on your experience with the insurance company, if they were lost, any claim would have to be used to replace them in this location?
Correct.
The problem with this one, if we lose this one, depreciation, I don't know what they're gonna depreciate on, but a building like this size, we just ballpark, and it doesn't have concrete on the bottom, right?
No, it's a dirt floor.
You'd probably be looking at about 32 to 38,000 to replace it in all metal.
Yeah.
This one right here, you'd probably be looking at about maybe 37 to 45. I don't know the dimensions, but just by looking at it, without concrete, no concrete. I don't know, this one has concrete in it?
I don't know, I have not been inside nor really spent a lot of time investigating that other building.
But they're insured basically at what they're worth to replace, but they're not gonna give us
I
enough.
was gonna say, that's the problem, is we're gonna get such a depreciated value. out of it.
Where are these?
At the Fall City Yard,
Both of them?
yes.
Right, they're right next door to the JP there in Falls City.
Yeah.
Which that's another question that comes up, is that yard going to ever be utilized actively? It's not fenced, it's been in the budget the last 2 years to fence it, so things could be stored there and protected by the fence from vandalism.
Our property, or I don't know.
Some of it is, but not very
Right.
much.
Right.
Yeah, from what I'm being told again, the portion that was going to be fenced to designate the total yard, half of that actually belongs to the city, a city street that dead ended in there that we are adjacent to, and the city has not maintained it, and so we just kind of adopted it.
Why don't we get the city street closed?
That portion it's a dead end street.
Or
It's
But
not-
it hadn't been
formerly
official.
closed by the city.
Well, there's
It's
other complications,
not,
there's other complications there too, because the city street crosses in front of the JP in this office, and then it turns and goes over to 181, which I understand is across private property. But nobody has complained, so it's been continued to use.
When we went through this same thing about 10, 12 years ago, right? We were talking about that city street. We never went to the Fall City to get that closed or anything.
And again, as Dale said, that crosses private property, which is the Whitfield property.
Yeah.
And at one point in time, there was discussion of purchasing that property, and the price was exorbitant for the benefit of the property. That's why I'm questioning if that Fall City Yard will ever be
Yeah.
used
My
to any
question,
benefit.
I would say for the meanwhile, keep it insured just in case something happens for $130-something bucks. But then we have to build it back on, that's the problem.
do you foresee, in the grand scheme of things, in a whole month's time being here, that the yard is beneficial to the county to use? And Pete's not here to defend himself, because that's his precinct, but in your thinking and what you've seen, do you see any utilization for it?
Because of the size of the yard, the only thing I would envision it being utilized for is possible material storage.
That's what I wonder.
But in order to do that, the buildings would need to be removed, and we would need to fence it for security purposes with the material. Now, just like in Gillette and in Runyon, we have a large material storage pile there along with other offices. We would not have an office here, but we would at least have an area for storage and for emergency purposes in that part of the county that we could possibly utilize.
I doubt seriously that, personally, that you could give these away and get anybody to take them down, or if it would be nearly a freebie.
We could, I know there, reality shows on TV are a dime a dozen. And supposedly, according to them, old metal buildings are gold mines. whether or not there's anybody in the area that would be willing to, purchase these for the metal. I don't know.
I don't think pretty good.
Yeah, I was gonna say it would have to be someone doing a fancy restaurant or something like that, because the scrap iron's too cheap right now. You couldn't even think about it on that. I know what you're talking about. A few years ago, there were people coming out of the city and buying old barnwood buildings for the same thing. Hadn't seen those in 5, 6 years. Have you seen anything of them, James?
You I have a connection with some people from Houston that do that. And you give them a call, but they mainly do just wood. I don't know, I don't think they do tin, but I can ask them if they have any connections with somebody that collects tin like that.
I think that's, here and there right now, I guess, but my thing is, I think that facility right now needs a good clean, at least all the sunflowers that are growing around there, and maybe we could talk with JP there, if she could have some community service to do that. We provide the equipment, or y'all do it on a day when it's a wet day where y'all can't do nothing.
Right. Now, we've got quite a few areas around that we need to get the shredders out. We had a couple of our shredders down for maintenance, and we've got those back running again. So I anticipate having shredders out on the roads here pretty quick, and that would be one area that we would need to do some work on. You're right.
What do you think, Judge?
Well, we either need to make use of them or get rid of them.
Well, that's my opinion. But our issue
It doesn't need
today,
to be in the property owning business. Just,
my personally, from my standpoint, what I would go with is drop the insurance off of them and look at the feasibility of disposing of them and doing what Dale says, that is spending the money on the fence and using it for materials yard. If you stuck a portable building up there, if you needed something, that would be the extent of it.
so all we, I think, got the right to do under this agenda.
That's right, all we
item
do is
is
either
just
insure or
value.
not insure. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. That's right.
Check. Okay, one of the things, you might want to check this, it looks like it's on a concrete slab, if you look at it right here, it's too straight for it to be this metal. And this one has a concrete slab, and it's good.
Wait. Which one is this one?
This one, Judge, right here. See, we've got the concrete step, and you can see the grass growing on it, but that tin on the bottom is not rotted or anything, so it looks like it's above grade. That one might, if the concrete's still good, that one might be.
Well, before we do anything with the buildings, as the judge says today, it's just strictly, do we want to insure them or do we want to take them off the list?
I gave you my.
Before we do anything else with them, I'll be back before you to get agreement to do that.
I was just telling you to go look at it and see what condition it was in, so you can come back and report to us to see if it's worth saving, because if you don't look at it, we don't know if it's worth saving.
I'll open the door and see what's in it too.
Yeah, it could be dangerous.
I'm a little hesitant of doing that. In my last position, I opened some doors and didn't like what I was finding, and then I had all kinds of other problems. So I hesitate to open unknown doors now. But it's gotta be done.
If it's county property, I don't hesitate to. I'll go with you and open the damn door. Excuse my language, but
What do you think, Judge, keep the insurance or not?
I don't think we ought to keep the insurance. I think we ought to drop the insurance on it. I don't think it's worthwhile.
So do we have a motion?
Would move that we would drop the insurance on the buildings.
On those two.
On those two
And I
buildings.
second the motion.
Can I ask something, Judge? I just thought of something. That's dropping, we still have liability in there in case somebody goes in there and gets hurt, right?
Correct.
We're not dropping full insurance on it.
Just
Right.
the
Just the
Okay.
property
We have the
insurance.
liability on it.
Well, I think the insurance value
The
is
value's the only thing?
what we're talking about.
Okay, just wanted to clarify. So I'll second it.
Judge already did.
Oh.
Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. And all opposed, same sign, all voting for. Motion carried.
And please get back to us with a recommendation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, item 17.
Yes.
What was this for? Your,
No.
I didn't say that.
oh, I thought you did.
No,
Sounds like it came from you.
no,
I'm
it
sorry.
wasn't.
Okay, item 17, Dave.
This is authorization to spend up to $5,000 to do some material testing for some of the materials that we have been using out of our local pits. There's a couple of pits, I just realized what my notes from the meeting yesterday were, and I don't have the names of those pits. There's one thing I...
B&K?
There's a couple of locals here that we have been taking caliche pit run material out of, and we have no material tests on that material. And so looking at it on the road, I know we have had some issues. Some of it has no rock in it, and it's...
What's likely to be the cost of having it tested? Do you have any idea?
I'm thinking it's probably going to be closer to $1,000, $1,200. I just didn't want to cut it down so low that if it goes to $1,225, it's not covered. You know, so that's why I say up to that $5,000. I'm not talking about a whole lot of samples, you know, 2 or 3 samples to be tested. In the past, it's been around that $1,200 to $1,500.
Per site or for all of them?
For all of them, I would think. I did this over in Frio, and it was, as I recall, it was right around that $1,200 to $1,500 price range.
You have some wiggle room in your budget somewhere for it?
Yes, we've still got like 1.3 million of material costs for material usage, and I would think that this would class, you know, it's testing of the material. I would think that it would be.
And this is a suggestion, and I'm in favor of doing what you want to do. There is, I believe, one pit in the Pettis area that they've not been pulling from, and I don't know the name of it, but there are several down there. And
is it in Karnes or B County?
It's in B County. I think all of these are coming
I've heard
up
them
B County.
mention, and they just call it the Pettis.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't.
B&K, they come out of B&K, which is Beck Brothers a whole
Yeah.
lot.
B&G.
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 And there's another one west of, I think it's west of town, and there's also, there are 3 or 4 different pits around the Pettis area.
West of Pettis, you mean?
Yeah, that come out there. Anyway, what I'm suggesting is before you find a good one, you may wind up having to.
Well, I'm not necessarily looking for additional pits. I'm just trying to determine if the material we are getting currently from these specific pits have road value to them, and what value that is.
And
Okay,
what?
Because I'm questioning the value and the quality of the material we're getting to see if we still want to be utilizing that material on the road or not.
And what I'm adding to that is that if they prove not to be valuable, that there probably are some ones around there that
Right.
the county has not been utilizing. They may be the same thing, but just as a thought.
Well, and if that's the case, then as you all have made it known, we're going out for bids
Yeah.
to utilize correct material and to bid it
One-
appropriate.
And I'm not tooting anyone's horn, but one of the owners or partial owners told me that his pit, and it is the one west of Pettis, was approved by the highway department. Now, I'm sure it's for subgrade, but more than likely. But so I know there's some around there, and then B&G may be one of them. I'm not saying they're not. Don't misunderstand me. I'm only favorable that we get the best quality material for the least possible price.
Correct.
Okay, motion to, is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second it.
And a second to approve up to $5,000 for the testing of the roadway material as requested by Mr. Stein. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign, all voted for.
And that's everything I've got for today.
Thanks, Alan.
Just please continue to work on the bid process for all of these, for all of the vendors.
Okay.
I'm sorry, is there anything we can do to benefit you on the facilitating or speeding up the process of getting, I'm sure you're in the process of getting it done, but this is, to me, is a major thing. It's one of the really important things that the court, I believe, hired you for. So I'm not fussing at you because you've only been here a month, but it's important to us.
Correct.
2 months.
Right?
2 months.
Keep us in the loop.
2 months. So I count poorly.
Okay. Item 18. James, you want
You want me to kick it off?
to discuss, well, I'll read it. Discuss, approve, and disapprove current action, next steps, options to consider at the recycle facility in light of TCEQ action was taken earlier this month. James.
Okay, TCQ had gone by there, another lady went by there, a different lady that hadn't gone by the facility, and she had different opinions on what is right and what is wrong out there. So that kind of pushed us into a different way of taking care of stuff that we were taking care of out there. So I got with Shelby and I told Shelby that he could give me a hand over there, it'd be better, 2 commissioners, and we started, what TCEQ recommended, this person, what they recommended was take everything off the ground. And while I was out there with them, I said, why? And they said, because it's an existing landfill. And I said, well, y'all have already had 3 or 4 other people from TCEQ came out here, and they were okay with what we were doing there for years and years and years. But of course, everybody's going to be, every rules change, people change, and they have different opinions. So I told this lady that was there.
She didn't do any of that in writing, did she?
No, that was just a discussion out there, Judge. That's all she did. And I didn't get upset with her, but I just told her what I need to do is I need to drag all of y'all that are coming in here and giving us different opinions to Commissioner's Court, and y'all need to go tell Commissioner's Court this, because I told her, some of y'all come in here, I've been dealing with some of y'all since years ago, and y'all are allowing us to do this, and the other ones come in here, take pictures, but didn't stop us from doing anything. They said everything was fine. Now you come in here, this is exactly what I told her. I don't know, you come in here and you change everything around, and you're saying that we're doing all this stuff illegally. She said, well, I'll give you 30 days to take everything off the ground. I said, that's fine. I go, we'll work with that. We'll do it. Then I asked her about the cap. And we had worked with some engineers about doing a cap on there. A cap was supposed to be, I don't remember the exact inches, but it was going to be inches high, 15, 20 inches. She's talking about an existing landfill needs 30 foot of top on it. I looked at her, I was like, what are you, I am so sorry. I go, I'm so sorry, ma'am. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I go, are you talking about 30 inches? She goes, no, I know what I'm saying. She goes, 30 feet. And I said, 30 feet? I go, you're the first one from TCEQ to come out here, and I've been doing this for years. And if ever told me that we needed 30 feet of cap, I go, that's crazy. I go, we'd have to shut the area down. I go, we can't put 30 feet here. I go, then we're going to get runoff to the fiberglass company, to the neighbors, and you're going to have a lot of downpour of water. She said, well, I'm not telling you to do that right now. I'm telling you to get everything off the ground. But that's not a problem. We'll bring in roll-offs and we'll get rid of that. And I just told her that she needed to come out here, that I was going to come to Commissioner's Court. And it's getting really over there. There's too many people with TCEQ. And because I've been around, I know Shelby's been involved in helping. I mean, he's been doing great there for a few months now, but I've been involved in it for years. So I'm the one who's been meeting with these people from TCEQ. And I'll sit here and I'll tell the people who the people tell me that they've been telling me all different kinds of things, Judge. And now it's hard if one person from TCEQ comes and tells you one thing, they allow it, then another one allows it, then the other one comes in, never seen her before, and doesn't allow it. But that's when I called Shelby, and I told Shelby, hey man, you might be giving me some help here. So we got together, and we're bringing in roll-offs now to the dump site. And we have an excavator with a thumb on there. We're loading everything up. We're getting rid of 2 to 4 or 5 a day. So everything's getting good. If I'm not watching over it, Shelby's watching over it. And they gave us basically 30 days. And I told this lady, and Shelby told me too, to make sure whenever these TCEQ people come in here, make sure to confirm it to my email. And I apologize, I haven't been doing that. I just took it word of mouth. We shook hands and we took care of it. So I told Shelby, you know what? Go ahead. He made some calls to TCEQ and he started getting all this stuff confirmed. And I said, no problem. I know. I do it old school. I'll learn to do it. That you can't trust people nowadays. But I grew up in an era where you shake hands. It's supposed to be good, but I guess it's not no more.
Can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do that no more. People change and it gets dirty.
Lawyers.
Yeah, huh?
Lawyers have to make a living.
But Judge, that's where it's at, but Shelby, you wanna kind of give them an insight of what we've been doing since you've been helping?
Yeah, I went to talk to Cameron Lopez, who's the section chief for TCEQ in San Antonio, after I saw what the comments the inspector had, I asked for a comment, a copy of what they had written up. And the county will be receiving a notice of violation. I asked him, I said, well, is there gonna be any fine assessed? He said, not at this time, as long as we take action to appropriately clean everything up. The whole thing came up to be is that when, and I don't know who, and I think it was Judge Kendall at the time, I researched and found an old permit that the facility was to be called a citizens collection station, meaning you couldn't store stuff on the ground. You could only receive household type stuff. No commercial construction waste. You couldn't get any type of hazardous waste. So you just had to just mainly take care of the citizens per se that actually have residence in the county. You could not, again, you weren't allowed to take any type of commercial industrial waste. Well, within the last 2 or 3 years, things have been coming in there, pallets, PVC pipe from these guys that were building stuff in the county, and next thing you know, you just couldn't keep up with what was coming in. We only had a couple of dumpsters there. So all that stuff was piled up there, and then the initial permit said you could burn brush on an infrequent basis, meaning the wind had to be going a certain direction and it had to be like after a big rain. Well, somewhere's in the process, over the years, people decided we could burn anything we want to out there, and that's what we started doing. The concern was burning on top of that cap, or digging a hole and exposing the old trash. There's a theory that you could start a underground fire with the trash burning, and it would just smolder and create an odor issue. Now, how TCEQ came into for this inspection was that somebody was burning something over there, and actually I think it was the fiberglass people, and they came and asked, are y'all burning anything here? And they said no. And then the inspector noticed all the trash and went back and talked to the section chief over there and other stuff, and she filed her little items of concern. And then that ended up turning, when that created more issues, because one, there wasn't with the trash that was piled up there, almost created we almost would have to have a stormwater plan, because you couldn't allow all this runoff to go into off the site. Two, there was, believe it or not, you had birds and stuff picking through the crack, the trash is there as well. As also some people were coming out there scavenging stuff. We couldn't allow them to do that because of a liability issue as well as a health and safety issue. So when I talked to them, and Cameron told me, he said, look, he said, y'all just get that place cleaned up, and then everything will be fine. And run it like a citizens collection station. So what we're going to have to do is, after we get everything picked up, and we're making headway. We're loading probably 4 dumpsters a day, and the problem's going to be somewhere down the line is going to have to be a budget adjustment of some sort, because we've already hauled out 22 loads of dumpsters, 22 dumpsters out of there at, you figure it about $900 a pop. That's going to run up a pretty good bill somewhere down the line. And then we need to sit down eventually, I'm not thinking just a meeting by itself to discuss how we're actually going to operate that facility, get some guidelines, got a book put together, Marion, just put a book together with the statute, things we could take to the landfill on how to run it correctly. And then James has been working on it as well, but we're making headway getting it cleaned up. Once we get it cleaned up, we're gonna have to sit down and really get some good operating procedures and be careful what we take into that facility. Now there's tires there, and Cameron said he's not worried about the tires as long as we don't get like 500 tires piled up there. But we're gonna end up having to get a trailer in there and that'll be for Road and Bridge to bring a place to put their tires inside that trailer that y'all collect. Only commercial one I think that we could probably allow to come in there, and then it'd be like maybe the Wood Group, because they're going around the county picking up stuff, and they do us a favor, so we could allow them to come in, but these commercial guys cannot. If you're a roofer, you can't be bringing your stuff in, or a plumber, you can't be bringing all your stuff. Now the local everyday farmer, rancher, and the citizen that does stuff, we could make exceptions to that. It's as long as we keep them without 10% of whatever we do. But nothing else can go on the ground. Now I asked about the brush. And the brush, again, we're gonna have to load all that up into dumpsters or chip it. But I was talking with Commissioner the other day yesterday, as a matter of fact, on a call from Victoria and also Calhoun County. And our question is, and we're trying to go to Austin with it, is this: you can't even allow the road people to burn brush on the side of the road. You have to get an air permit or something, which is crazy because the landowners, when they clear brush, they burn brush. So what's the difference, or you burn fields off? What's the difference? So there's a lot of questions that we're having to ask, but for now we're going to have to figure out a way how we're going to handle our brush that y'all pick up off the road, and either cut it, we can dump it in the dumpsters right away, or maybe, I don't know, just find a way to dispose of it. As for the cap, I think it's 30 inches, and we could probably do that with the cap is there, just we can't be digging on top of the cap. And where the last hole was dug was maybe on the edge of a cap, but we got, as a county, y'all clean up land, field or something, y'all need a place to go with it, like your topsoil and stuff, we can come across it. I think we can get rid of a lot of that material that way. But once we get everything cleaned up, and then a lot of these other issues, the stormwater plan, all that goes away because there's nothing being stored on the ground.
Does the county still have the chipper? Does it still work?
I have not seen anything of a chipper.
There's a chipper out there, a smaller chipper, the one that we got a long time ago.
The one that we got through the grant?
That we got out for a grant, we got a truck and the chipper.
But again, go ahead.
I'm sorry. We've tried to chip there before, and we put piles there for the public. Nobody picks it up. They sat there for like 5 or 6 years.
Cuero brought in a commercial one in DeWitt County, and they had a pile the size of this building, and it was a freebie, and a few people came, but not many.
Very few. Yeah.
And that's the conversation yesterday we had with the other commissioners. I was talking to them on a conference call, and said that nobody wants that stuff because it's not quality mulch, and then it creates another hazard because you're gonna, a burning hazard.
Yeah.
So unless you could chip it and turn around where you can put more into a dumpster, that way where you can maximize the dumpster load is one thing.
I was going to say, but
but it's double work.
I was going to say, you labor may offset
Yeah.
the thing. I bought a chipper, and I'm fixing to sell it because we were going to use it in cleaning fence rows, and you can take a grapple and pick the stuff up and put it in a pile and burn it 10, 15 times faster, and you can sit there and feed that sucker.
But we're in the process of getting it all cleaned up. Again, the only problem about that whole facility is it's an existing landfill, and with that, you just can't disturb too much over the cap.
We paid Underbring $25,000 to determine where to dig the new hole, correct?
Yes, yes, sir.
So did we come up with a place to dig it, or
Yes, sir.
not digging it, or?
Yes, sir, Scott. He said it was within this area, but he couldn't pinpoint it, so what we did was, we dug a couple of times and we brought up trash, and we said, find an area that's clean, there's an area around, somewhere around that's clean, so we found an area where we have dug it, where we dug the pit right now, it has never had trash in that area, but that's about the only area out there that has not had trash. Everything else has had trash. And on one of these, reports that they put on here, it's not correct, because they put in there in 2014, they came down here, and in 2014, we first dug and found that it was a facility that had trash. No, that's not correct. We knew that was a trash place a long time ago. When they came down, they asked, TCQ asked me, they go, "Wait, have you been burning on top of this facility?" I said, yeah. I said, I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to say no, but it's all there. So I told them that it was a facility. They asked me, did you disturb the ground when you were digging? I said, yes, we did. I did not lie to them. I did not try to cover up or a mistake or anything. I was 100% honest with TCQ. They didn't find it. They said, thank you for your honesty. You're okay with it. That was back with Esma. She's still there. That's the one I was working with. But as every person they send, they got a different story. They got a different way of looking at it. They want us to do something different. So like I talked to Shelby, and me and Shelby can go out there and we're doing it good, and he's helping a lot. In fact, the good Lord, he's there. But we're going to get somebody else from TCQ, and they're going to say something else different. They're either going to tell Shelby something different or me something different. So I told Shelby and I talked to him about this. What I want is this one's here, and it says discuss, approve, disapprove current action and the next steps, considering at the recycle, because in light of TCQ. So TCQ is involved so deep in here, and there's so many opinions of TCQ. I want the whole court to deal with this, not just me and Shelby out there, not just me, or I don't want to just pass it to Shelby. It's not a burden, it's a responsibility, and I believe in the whole court. Because that way, we don't have to come back every day, and like we're reporting to the judge, and he's the county judge, we have to report to him, but it's hard to get with David and everything. If it falls under commissioner's court, then we are, David has real good ideas, Pete has good ideas. I think we need to get together, and I've already talked to Shelby about it, and make it a court responsibility, a full court responsibility, since we have so many issues out there. And also, I talked to Shelby about this, and we can probably do it if the judge is okay with it, with this one here, this is not a motion, it's just throwing out there. I'm making a motion to give full control to the commissioner's court for all of us to be involved in here and get the ideas and the consent of the whole commissioner's court, since we may get fined on this and stuff, and they got so many different people coming in and giving different opinions. And also under this agenda item, set up a workshop like Shelby said, and me and the judge have been talking about it, about the whole court getting together and find out exactly what we're gonna do on it. Are we gonna keep the burn site? Because they're talking about, one person said we can't even burn there. The other one say that we can burn. We already dug the pit because TCQ told us, that's what we hired the engineers. They said, yeah, y'all can burn there. That's why we spent $25,000 to look for that area. Now somebody's coming on and saying, we can't burn here, so we just tossed $25,000 out of, just for nothing, because we paid them for their work, but for the county work for nothing, the TCQ is not gonna allow us to burn. But when we came out here and we got the engineer, TCQ was okay with us burning. So that's why I feel it needs to be a full court on this. There's too many do's and don'ts with TCQ. And then it reflects just back on either on me that I'm doing something wrong, or now it might reflect back on me and Shelby that we're doing something wrong. When it's the whole court, we got 5 opinions.
It reflected the whole court did
And
something.
I think that it's better that way.
But we don't disbelieve y'all when y'all bring something to us. I mean, we'll share the blame.
But one thing for sure, that thing was permitted in there since 2008 as a citizens collection station. I don't care what year it is or whatever, but the standards are set. There's a administrative code that specifically defines collection station. It's a citizens collection station. The only way it was given that because it's on top of that landfill. Now we have to. I mean, there's just no ways about it. Everything can't be placed on the ground. It's got to be put in dumpsters. And then the burning thing, again, it says you can't burn, but yet we'll have to get further clarification, but to burn, actually you have to almost be like 300 feet away from the nearest residence. And then again, it's gotta be on an infrequent basis based on the wind direction. And my thing would be, you know what? Why even burn anymore? Because all you're doing is drawing more attention to your site. And other guys that are people that I've talked to running landfills, collection stations, they're just putting their stuff in dumpsters and going away. Because it's just, it is what it is. I mean, either you get out of the trash collection business altogether,
Suits me.
and then you do that, then you start having stuff on county roads, or you try to get another facility someplace and you go through a permitting process, and it's, you know, right now this is the worst of all the evils that can come.
And Commissioner Dubnik is correct, folks. It was in there on the original agreement. When I walked in, I failed to look up the original agreement. You know, I admit if I failed something, I should have went up there and I should have looked at it and I should have seen all the procedures. I just followed through what everybody else was doing, and that's not correct.
James,
I
you
should have
do.
took more responsibility and looked at that.
It's, nobody really knew, I guess, because, you know, you hear burn and nobody really, it just poof, was set on fire.
I should have checked, but I just followed what everybody else was
Mike
doing.
Bean was in charge of it under Alger.
Ma'am?
Mike Bean was in charge of it under Alger.
As was Jeffrey Viatrin.
And I think James just followed just gotten step with everybody
I should have done my
else is
homework
doing.
and I should have researched
You
it.
How many
hear,
times do you burn out?
When we used to burn?
Right now, are we
No,
burning?
we haven't burned since 2014.
What's the discussion?
I'm just explaining what I found out. We dug a burn pit, as Scott rightfully said, we contracted David Underbrake to do a study, and I found the study last time, I forgot to bring it with me, but I've got the study, I found the contract, what they were supposed to do. And
In Mike.
as a matter of fact, you know, where the hole was found on the edge of the existing landfill, and to where the hole is now, in my opinion, is not feasible because it's not within the 300 feet from a residence.
It's within the 300 feet of a structure, but it's right out, maybe 20 foot away from the fence line. So that's why I want to make a court. We want to shut it down, we shut it down. We don't burn, and then, I mean,
I agree with James and Judge Long. I mean, I don't see why the court is ultimately responsible anyway, so that's fine. Like I say, and I know I've got a less government idea more than anyone else, but I like page 4 of the permit where you talk about closure plan. But
Well, even too, at one time, I know there was a large discussion about just putting dumpsters in each of the 4 county towns to facilitate the constituents being able to use it.
Yeah.
A lot of people might sooner go somewhere within their town, within a 5-mile radius, as opposed to driving clear to
Mr.
Kansas
Polk
City.
has something.
Caution against that,
Yes.
and if you have no control of what goes into that
I
dumpster.
I don't think the county's responsibility.
Mr. Polk, what do
I was
you?
just gonna offer up that our recycled material is approved for landfill cap.
Uh-huh.
So if the county needs it, we'll make that available free of charge if y'all need any cap material. It has been approved for landfill cap.
I'm sorry, I missed it.
Our recycled material is also approved for landfill cap. Y'all talked about maybe needing some. If you need some, we'll provide that at no cost, obviously, if you kind of need it. I just want to offer that up.
But to me, the quickest, I agree, it'd be good to have dumpsters in every part of the county, but I think that is creating, we'd have no control about. We used to have trailers years ago, if I remember, in the county, and they got to be
In
regular.
rural areas.
I would suggest to you, sir, that you are wrong. You go to Seguin, Guadalupe County, they've got a county collection point, and a crossroads there just outside of Seguin. They've had it there for at least 10 years. And people drive it, they got it in, it's open, I think, 3 or 4 days a week. Posted, it's all fenced in, they've got these roll-off, collection, truck deals. People go in there, they've got a guy that works here, a county employee, he
Yes.
sees what you got, he tells you where to put it, you drive out, you pay your $5 and you're out of here.
Maurice, that's basically what we should be doing with our collection station.
It's been brought up about 5 times in this court, Shelby, over the last 8 years. And everybody tells the people that sit out here and make the suggestion, can't work here,
Well, that's what our collection site is right now. We have an employee out there during open hours that supposedly monitors what's brought in and where it's placed.
That's what I'm saying, Maurice. It's somehow in the process, it got to be a dump site and not a collection site,
Right.
like you're saying.
They-
And two, you know, in the early days, it was also said it's gonna be a recycling facility. Well, the recycling facility falls under different guidelines again. And to my knowledge, nothing's ever been recycled there. They did cardboard for a while, and it was found that it wasn't feasible because it was costing more to haul it than it was to try to get rid of it. I mean, to band it. And now you're getting pallets and, hell, one day when some guy brought a bunch of concrete there and they dumped it. I mean,
If you got an employee out there and they're allowed that to happen,
well,
call the sheriff's department and say, hey, come get this guy.
anyway, but my thing is that I don't think those guys have ever been given a proper, some type of guidelines. This is what we're gonna say. You're supposed to list what you'll accept there. And I don't know, you've got somebody there that's,
I've told them also not to take like concrete. I don't know about if somebody dumps something, he says they hide stuff and then they pour it. They got brush over it, they'll hide little pieces of concrete, throw it under. So not to take shingles, because they got oil and they contaminate the ground. But I've told them a lot of times, we see tires thrown back there and all the mess, that's a new, there's tires here. He goes, James, he goes, I can't check every trailer that comes in, all
Yes,
the
he
way to the
can.
bottom. He goes, when they go back there, he goes, when I'm over here for myself, they go back there, he goes, they dump whatever they want, I'm over here. So,
that's what I'm saying. We need to sit, we need to
So
sit
we
down
gotta
and
figure
keep it,
something
once we get it cleaned up,
and then,
keep us, this is how we're gonna do it and do it this way and no exceptions
and if we need to have 2 full-timers or 1 full-timer, whatever we need, it's a court decision of what we need out there and just quit taking in anything, just also stuff, I guess. Or shut it down. But if we shut it down, it's gonna end up on the county road. That's what I've been complaining about. If you shut it down, it's gonna end up.
We understand what you're saying, James, but this problem is not unsolvable. The problem is, if it requires guidance, we've been kicking this can for at least 6 years that I know of. And we need the right guidance, so we gotta do this, and you talk about it, and it doesn't get done. And then, TEC comes back, we still don't have it done. Now we got the crisis gets bigger and bigger, and we're still talking about it, about writing guidelines. We'll get some training in here, and get people stopped out there and turn them around, put it in the newspaper, so that people understand what the rules are, and then enforce it. If you don't enforce anything, you just got yourself a problem.
Well, I agree, and Maurice and everybody, that's the steps we're going now.
Judge, on this one here, I feel like I want to make a motion on this, and there is room for a motion here, and we can second it, call it, turn it down, or whichever way, but I'm going to make a motion on it. I would like to make a motion to give the full control of the facility out there, the collection station facility, waste facility has been called all kinds of things, 120 Riddleville Road in Karnes City, to the full Commissioner's Court, so Commissioner's Court can make decisions on it as a full court. Also, within this motion, I would like to also set up a workshop to see if what we're doing is acceptable by the whole court, and I'm sure it is, but I would like to bless it from the whole court, and to get any ideas from the court for the future of this department, if there's any future for it, if we're gonna shut it down and keep it open, what we're gonna do with it. So basically, my motion is to give it to where the whole court is in control of it. Me and Shelby can oversee it, or both of us, or one of us, whatever, but the full court is gonna be in control of it. And also to set up a workshop maybe within the next week. What do you think, Shelby? You're with me on that?
Yes,
I'll
second.
I agree with everything in fact, except I think that you should get the thing cleaned up and then do your workshop and determination is really to go out there and try and make a decision while you're still in the process of cleaning everything up. Start with a clean slate and then do your workshop and decide what to do. But it sounds like you're solving the problem as it is, so why jump in the middle of that?
Do you want to set up the workshop for 30 days from now? Or
Yeah.
should we
No,
meet later?
no, I think, I know what David's saying, but to me, it's like Maurice said.
Get it done next week and
It's,
get on it?
just sit down, let's get these guidelines going, because every day you waste, you're one day closer to getting that thing cleaned up.
Yeah.
And if you can't sit down and quite frankly, you can
Okay.
start operating with guidelines tomorrow if you have them.
What are you doing Monday afternoon?
I'll be sitting here.
I'll be here.
You'll go do it Monday afternoon?
1:30 Monday afternoon.
That's it.
That's fine with me.
Let's do it then.
A workshop.
Is it?
That meets your guide there, notice, that doesn't meet your.
What time is it?
notice.
What time is it?
It's 11:30. 11:35.
If we can get it posted by 1:30.
You got doctor call.
Ms.
No,
Jones,
never
you-
mind, I'm looking at April.
When is
You
it?
what?
Monday, we have 10 o'clock meeting in the morning, Monday afternoon is
I
fine.
can't hear you.
Monday afternoon is fine.
I'm 80 years old.
Monday afternoon is fine.
1:30 to 2 or what?
1:30. Monday. A workshop type meeting.
Yeah. We come
Do you have
here,
some ideas?
we come in here, and if we need to go out there, can we adjourn to an
Yes.
offsite place?
This has to be posted.
Post it then.
No, 72 hours, right?
Do what?
If you post it by 1:30 today, you'll have the
Yeah, we'll be
72.
good.
We better adjourn.
Okay,
We're almost there.
What are we gonna post exactly?
the workshop meeting.
A workshop meeting to discuss.
This-
The operations of the Citizens Collection
We
Station.
will meet here and probably adjourn to go look. Maybe.
Also, if we could, also just in case, put on there that we could make a motion on something if we need to.
Discuss, accept,
Just in
approve,
case,
blah,
like,
blah, blah.
something,
Yeah,
just in case we have to make a motion on something that day.
yeah, that's good.
Motion is second.
It's been made a second.
It seems to be followed by a formal meeting to take action on any
Sure.
decisions to be made.
Okay.
So that we post both things.
Yeah, that's fine. That's good.
Add that to the motion in the second. Is okay?
Yes, we'll have that on.
So amended.
Did you hear me? Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. All voted for. Motion carried.
Okay,
Okay.
treasurer's report.
She's not here. And, I received an email yesterday about nothing has changed, so I find it hard to believe since April of 12, she has not been able to find the difference in
I'll give you a brief synopsis of what I know. Vi and Jeff McMain from Tyler Technology and Michelle researched the situation. It was identified the way the report is set up, the way she currently presents the report, reflects all revenues and expenses. There were journal entries to some expenses that did not hit cash accounts. So that accounts for the differences. It has nothing to do with receipts. It has nothing to do with checks, as she previously told y'all. So we could either use that report that she has been using and add in that it shows the unreserved fund balance where those entries happen to hit, or I have gone in and created a new report that reflects cash and cash equivalents and receipts and disbursements from those accounts to get true cash balances within the system. That is what the local government code requires her to report, is cash receipts and cash disbursements and balances. Not revenues and expenditures, but cash receipts and cash disbursements. So I have set this report up within the system. I am going to give her the steps, she is not here today, give her the steps to follow each month to produce that report.
Okay.
Now, whether she wants to use that report or wants to use her other report, that's up to her, but if she uses the report she's been using, she will on occasion have differences in that report due to journal entries.
But if she uses the one you set up, it's gonna hit every time it should, as long as she does everything
It will
correctly.
show all receipts and all disbursements that affect cash and cash equivalents, which would be our certificates of deposit and outside
And
investments.
that'll match everything you do, that should match everything, as long as she does it.
So, see if I can put this in layman's terms. Most of the problem is basically in the way things are entered and accounted for, no?
The issue is the report that
Reporting.
was being utilized to report cash activity. It was reporting revenues and expenditures, not receipts and disbursements.
Okay.
Okay, so you feel confident you corrected,
Every scenario that I have run with the newly created report equals.
so can we somehow make her use that report?
I set the accounting procedures,
Yes,
and those procedures that I set are supposed to be followed.
yes.
But among those accounting procedures is giving me bank reconciliations, and I don't get those. So no, I cannot guarantee that if I set this as the procedure, that it will be followed.
Why didn't she give you the reconciliation? I've asked her that question, but I can't get an answer.
Because they're not done.
Oh.
Or because I go back and ask for answers to things that are done.
But you said
Wait
the,
just a second, let Marty speak.
I thought that responsibility had been transferred, reconciliations, with the responsibility plus the personnel to her office.
No, sir, it is a statutory duty of the county treasurer. It cannot be transferred.
but you set you've set the accounting procedures and reporting procedures, right? So, do we need, the court need to take action and say, hey, Mr. Treasurer, I know you can't tell her what to do, but if you have accounting procedures, shouldn't she have to follow that?
In the real world, yes, obviously not in Karnes County.
But how could we make her do it?
Well, that was attempted, and there is a permanent injunction in place, and that terms of that permanent injunction are not being met.
We need to look at the terms of it and have the attorney look at it and see if there's what action we can take, I think.
That sounds like a plan.
So every month when we get your report, yours by reporting procedure should be true and accurate.
Yes. But that's only reflecting what's in the system,
Yes.
which is why bank reconciliations
Reconciliations.
are important, because there may be activity in the bank that are not in the system. And so just because it's in the system doesn't mean that's a true cash balance, which also affects your outside investments.
But at least we're closer, maybe.
Not without reconciliations, I can't confirm that.
Okay. Move we pass the treasurer's report till some of these things are taken care of. Going to page 13.
Come on. Or 11.
Let's go to page 11.
Oh, I jumped ahead. I hit the wrong page first.
Under the section of account summary, I will point out some specific items of interest in this cycle. A little more than half the way down is the summary titled Outside Audit. In this bill cycle is a progress billing of $15,500 on our current outside audit. With this payment, that brings the amount we've expended to date $30,500 on our outside audit, and the current budget is $50,000. Two items down from that, contingency fund, we are making a payment of $12,468.01 to a company contracted by Jeff Chapman to do the building diagnostics of the issues here at 210 West Calvert. On page 12,
What are the building diagnostics?
the water issues, the roof leaks, the water down the walls, et cetera, that we've had issues with the architect and the contractor, and so Jeff is trying to determine all areas that need to be addressed.
When they sprinkle the lawn out in front.
No, that's not what's going. Okay.
Okay, on page 12, the fourth item, $6,706.25 is district court appointed attorneys. Juvenile detention services this cycle is costing $7,560. We have charges in this cycle for adult psychological evaluations of $2,100.
What is that? I mean, I know what it is, but who is it?
I don't know who it is.
It's not all the county employees.
Officials
I mean,
particularly.
that's a court ordered thing usually, or?
Yes, it is mandated by court.
Okay, it's not something your department's involved in, Robert?
I
Okay.
don't believe so.
See, I thought maybe that was the juveniles or something. It was a lot of money, so
It's
anyway,
on
go.
that end, Commissioner. It's on juvenile end, I believe.
Have we spent any money at all on
2,100 in this cycle.
that? That's expenditure?
Yes.
Yeah, I see.
Then the next item is $7,600 for county court-appointed attorneys. You move on down the page and you'll see an expenditure for $64,117.40. That is for phase 2 of the courthouse restoration expenditures with the architect. The next item is $25,968.27 on the jail facility. And back up on that courthouse restoration, part of that is to MJ Boyle on the intermediate work they have been doing, waiting for the award of the courthouse restoration grant, which we should be notified of sometime today.
No, we won't be hearing nothing today.
Why?
The head chairman of the historical commission, for some unknown reason, has pushed everything into July.
I just got a
And
notice.
we don't know why yet.
So Sue went all the way to
Nacogdoches, yeah. She texted me last night, and everybody's upset.
Oh, no.
Something has happened in the whole process that he wants to review something, and so he's postponed everything till July.
Somebody's eating on his butt.
Huh?
Is this Mark? Not Mark, I mean Mark Wolf?
There's a name on the email that I just.
John Dow is
John Dow, he's a
new chairman.
New chairman.
So now till July, so that blows this year's budget appropriations on what we would get completed.
Yeah.
Okay. Turn to page 13.
What it is we can't start construction because anything that's done prior to the award is not eligible in the award, so it basically stops the project
It
while they sit
doesn't
on their
allow
butt.
us to claim it as match or to claim it for reimbursement. Anything we do prior to award.
Fast speed of government.
But it also, the last sentence at least says that it's thought that 3 months delay may result in significant improvements in the program.
Well,
Hopefully.
okay.
Well, we're
We'll
almost
see.
finished with that program.
Okay.
Okay, page 13, midway down, it's an expenditure this month for the mobile and senior food pantries, $14,360.63. Now we're into road and bridge expenditures. Road materials in this cycle, $509,898.31. Of that expenditure is $35,200 that Dale mentioned earlier that was utilized for dust suppressant.
My mind wandered, what item are we talking
$509,898.31. And also included in that amount is $1,570.40 of culverts that are inventoried at the Rungy Yard. There's an expenditure for
Are they
$98,000.
there? Do you have any idea?
That's where they deposit them, where they're put on the roadway. I've asked Alma about that, and she does keep, I have not verified it, but she says that she takes those as they're purchased and stores them in the running yard. Then as they are used on the actual roadway, she will take them out of that inventory and designate them on the specific road that they are placed on.
So she's watching it.
Through the precinct tracker, I presume.
Through precinct tracker, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and she I have not specifically audited that item, but from my reviews of other items in that system, she's almost an accountant keeping track of what's going on in there, and she's on the guys every day and making it right.
Okay.
We appreciate her, but like I said, let's get the bids out, because a lot of this stuff, we're still out of a legal situation. Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, expenditure this cycle for outside contractors with road and bridge, $98,180. Expenditures associated with Senate Bill 1747 in this cycle, $572,074.29. Expenditures on County Road 211, which is to the contractor, which Dale has approved that draw, is $45,000. The total for this cycle, $1,601,999.15. Go ahead, David.
Yes, ma'am. Look, how far are we on our juveniles? That was gonna be the question. Any action? No court
So,
action?
Commissioner, they are doing psychological exams and some other stuff. That's where that bill is. And the court's trying to get something done with it as quickly as possible.
Okay, thank you. I noticed a bunch of stuff to Tyler. Is that all our annual costs?
If you're referring to what's in the county auditors and county treasurers, yes.
Okay.
Where is it?
Oh, let's see.
On page
Page.
3,
Yes.
under Department 495 and 497.
Public safety software license, Robert, is that something that we coordinate with the state on? It says.
Say it again, Commissioner?
This, I'll interject for you, this involves their soon-to-be conversion to the Tyler system.
Oh, okay, okay.
And that
Yeah.
will really take full speed ahead once they are in the jail.
Sure. Jail conference, obviously you sent several of your jailers to it.
It's required, yes.
Okay. Most of the rest of the stuff is stuff I was telling Dale about on the bidding, where we have purchases from people that I guess I don't trust. But anyway, are we about
Sure.
Mayfield Pipe? They're not the only person in the country, and they can buy pipe at Alamo Lumber. But for what reason do we go to Yorktown to buy pipe?
He's back.
I suspect Mike was the one that started it. All of these were under Mike. I basically don't trust any vendor that Mike was using. If you want honest truth, I figured they were putting money in his pocket because they were all away from here, and they all were, to me, were suspect. Why do you buy pipe from an oil field vendor who is the highest one in the country?
And we have ceased all contract and material purchases to verify where we are in the budget. And before we start anything else up, I've got some other projects that are going to be taken on.
Okay. I'm not on your ass, don't
No,
understand.
I understand.
But that's, I don't like Beasley Tire. I think we can do better with T&N in San Antonio. There's a whole bunch of those that, like I say, were suspect to me. But you told me what I needed to know, and I thank you, and I'll shut up. Move, we pay the bills.
Any other discussion? All in favor of paying the bills, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. All voting for, motion carried.
Do you know if the county's received the reimbursements yet for that red Tahoe that we had?
Not yet. We had a call from Joe Copeland yesterday about the title and the price on it. But we have not received the check or the release dates.
Just to inform the court that one wrecked vehicle, we had the insurance agreed to pay it in full. And then they paid $32,000 on that $34,000 vehicle, and they paid for the damaged equipment, so. the check is out of the way, so.
Please
Good.
be total spent this, keep that. Get all our-
On April 25th, 2016, Brian Straw, the chief appraiser, sent out this notice to everybody. It says, as provided in the Texas Property Tax Code 26.01, I, Brian J. Straw, chief appraiser for Karnes County Appraisers, hereby certify that the estimated, and I want you all to understand, estimated net taxable value as of April 25th, 2016 of all property in Karnes County for 2016 is $5,663,136. The estimated freeze adjusted taxable is $5,790,670,950. The appraisal records from which this estimate was derived are now available to the Appraisal Review Board for review and determination of protest challenges as required by the Texas Property Code 25.22. And he says, please note the values are only estimated values and have been prepared prior to consideration of taxpayer renditions, exemption applications, and determination of protest hearing are subject to change, and it's witnessed by his hand, 25th day of April 2016. So in 2015, the taxable value was $7,115,115,725, and the current one $5,854,663,136 is the current estimated for 2016. So that's a drop of $1,260,512,589 or 17.7% decrease. Anybody that thinks that doesn't apply to them, including the county judge's office, is wrong. It applies to everybody. And everybody needs to start looking for ways to comply with this budget that's going to go down. I'm going to guess 25%, 20 to 25% when we're through. And we're working on it. And everybody needs to be working on it. And those that get hit hard work probably less than some of the rest. So with that said, anything further?
Move with adjourn.
Second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried. We approve.
Okay, you ready, Bernice?
Yes.
$1,601,999.15.